You are watching the Vodka stream.
Hey, what's happening, guys? Welcome to the Vodka stream. Made it through another hot week. I'm gonna get another hot week ahead of us. Jesus Christ. Yeah, just gonna be in the hundreds forever, it feels like, doesn't it, guys? At least in Southern California, but I know in some other places, pretty hot too. So good to see you guys. Let's have some fun tonight. We'll be discussing Lanterns episode 1 with everyone. I want to get everybody's opinions, what you liked, what you didn't like, predictions of the future. That'll be heavily discussed and everything. You know, there's other things that happen this week too, I guess. We're going to discuss as well. We could discuss as well. I'll go off on some rants and stuff at the beginning as usual. But let's go ahead and put on some little mood music right here. All right. Cheers, guys, to another week, to the end. I know, now we have one more week of August. And we start really getting to the fall, autumn. The only season that has two names, two completely different names, right? It's crazy, right? I think all of them, they should all have two names. Why don't they all have two names? I don't get it. But anyways, let's see who's out there. Talk to me, guys. What's going on, Devin? Dave, it's so funny. Spider-Man brand new day art book just confirmed using AI for New York. That's messed up. We're the same people. Yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. Of course, because I talked about when they busted Craig Gillespie for using AI to, do in real time when it came to Jason Momoa. What's going on, Monique? Happy Friday to you. Fantastic Friday to you. It's oven roasted tri-tip and mashed potatoes with gravy. Sounds awesome. There's something about mashed potatoes and gravy. And, the darker the gravy, the better, but it really doesn't matter. But yeah, tri-tip, mashed potatoes and gravy, that sounds awesome. I made a ribeye tonight. It was a nice little, perfect, little marbly ribeye. It was great. It's usually, that's like my Friday thing. It's just to make a ribeye, like my Friday dish, because it's like end of the week, So I made myself a ribeye, made it great. Clone Avenger, what's happening? Yo. Did you catch the trailer for the upcoming Lanterns episode? There's a quick scene of Hal in a car with someone in the back seat of the car with a bullet wound in their head. Coincidence? Oh, I don't think I saw that footage. That's pretty interesting, though. That is pretty interesting. So we'll see. I don't know. What's going on? We got Ryan right here. TGF to you. Omega Swiper says, Dave, Lantern is a success, but Gorilla Goddess sounds like the adult version. Very adult. Seems fucking dumb. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. I'm intrigued. I'm not going to lie. I'm intrigued by it. What's going on? We got Ghoul right here. I know you meant Gorilla Grodd. It's coming. I don't know. Seems weak. Yeah, we'll see. Got to see the execution, to be honest. It's all about the execution. I'm all about different stuff. One of the things that I thought about today is everybody wants something different until somebody does something different, and then they go, "What the fuck you doing?" It is one of those things, and that's when you have something like the DCU and they're trying to do different things. Is it all working? No. Was Supergirl the right choice for be the second movie? No. But at the same time, different is good. Let's see what happens. Lanterns was okay, is this going to work? And so far, after first episode, is very much a success. But we can't fully gauge it until the whole thing comes out, really. So what's going on, Dale? Good to see you, my friend. Always great to see you. We got Phil here. Good evening. Phil will be joining later. We have Versus C. Just get me to the people versus Gorilla Grodd. If it's good, it'll be the most hilarious switch up. Could be interesting. Very well could be interesting. Stephanie T, good to see ya. Good to see you out there. Happy Friday to you. We got Braden, I should say. Hey, Dave, fuck the people. I'm Team Gry. he is innocent, joking aside. I think it sounds like an interesting series. That's the way I'm looking at it. It's like an interesting approach. I get it. But I also get why people are like, hey, where's Wonder Woman and Batman? I also understand that, even though there is a Batman movie that is currently filming right now. So really there is something right there. So with how popular true crime documentaries have become, I think People versus Gorilla Grodd will do well. Skylar Gizondo, I always say his last name wrong. I said Gizondo. Also has a built-in HBO audience from The Righteous Gemstones, which was a hit. Yeah. Mashed potatoes. Love the good ribeye, especially roasted. Yeah. I had an avocado with it and some kimchi, and a glass of wine. A glass of red wine always goes good with a ribeye. So that was my dinner right there. But yeah, I mean, I keep it simple when it comes to that. I just had it with an avocado and some kimchi, which was good. It was good. It's good. It's all good. What's going on? Our skeptic thoughts on the last. I think it looks fantastic. We'll talk about that a little bit too. Obviously, Zach teased that, which is good. It's going to be a 30-minute show. Yeah, because it seems like it's going to be documentary style. So it's going to be like shows like The Office, Parks and Rec. It's going to be like that, which I'm totally fine with. I just hope there's not 8 episodes. I hope it's almost 20. I don't know how long it's going to be, but yeah. Sean's nephew, thinking about going, always appreciated the overall good faith and true fan-ness of the channel. Okay. Appreciate you. We got Tyler right here. Hey, Dave, hope you are doing well. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. Hope you are too, brother. Found out I'm going to be a dad to a girl this week. Well, congratulations. Working late shifts. Listening to you helps make that possible. Keep grinding. Also, I'm sure, yeah, Cosmic Book News, of course. Yeah, fuck Matt McGroin and his bullshit. Yeah, just constant bullshit. But yeah, cheers to you, man. Cheers to you. You're going to be a girl dad. That's awesome. Real series wasn't in my bingo card. I don't think it was in anybody's bingo card, honestly. Might end up being awesome. Yeah, you never know. Tonio, my biggest takeaway from the Lanterns is the same thing that I say about Superman. It's not big fan bases, and Lanterns deal well because of general audience. Yeah, no, and that's what some people have trouble taking in. I think people have a problem with, like, I saw a really good video when somebody was like breaking down comic book accuracy. It's like there's a misconception when somebody who's in favor of comic book accuracy or who thinks this is comic book accuracy. There was a really good video where it actually had a pretty good take on comic book accuracy, where it's like the diehard comic book readers just want something that feels like, oh, you pulled this from a comic book. Doesn't have to be a 1-for-1, but it's like, oh, you pulled this definitely from it. And then you have the people who just go like, well, comic book accuracy is this. It's like, no, it's not that. That's an Elseworld story. That is not the main timeline comic book story. Like, that's not that. And then there's he even pointed out that some people say comic book accuracy when they refer to like the cartoon, like Superman the Animated Series, or Batman the Animated Series, or something like that. It's like, that's not comic book either. Like, you just want it accurate to what you watched as a child. That's pretty much what he was getting at. But when you have like, obviously there's going to be the diehard comic book lovers that just hate anything live action. But there's also those like, the good comic book readers that just go, hey, just give me something that is a little bit. It doesn't have to be a 1-for-1. Just give me a little bit, Sorry, but I'm not buying the stupid Gorilla Garage show. Sounds like another Peacemaker, which is basically one of James Gunn's pet projects that goes nowhere. Well, this one will be more tied to the whole universe, I feel. I just wonder who's going to end up popping up. I wonder who's end up going to be, like popping up. Like what characters? Obviously, there's going to be some deep cuts, 100%. But again, something new, something different. See if it works out. If it works out, it works out. Again, people want different until somebody actually does something different. Then they just go, what the fuck? Let's see what else we got. Same thing with Peacemaker. No one asked for that. I get so tired of the whole, who asked for this? I'm like, nobody asked for anything. It's like, stop. I hate that question. Who asked for this? I don't know. Someone out there. There's 5 billion people in the world. Somebody probably, just statistically, somebody probably asked for it. I don't know. There's somebody out there. Somebody out there was like, it would be fun. You know what would be fun? If there was a crime series, court series about Gorilla Grodd. Somebody out there probably did. I don't know. It's all crazy. Comic book fans need to realize that these projects have to also appeal to the general audience. I know. That's why I keep on saying, like, this is where AI is going to win, because, AI is going to give you exactly what you want. It's going to beam it right into your head in about 12 years. You're going to be sitting in one of those chairs like in WALL-E, and you're just going to be able to watch whatever version that you want to watch in live action. It's going to be beamed into your head. All the robots take over. Without a general audience, these projects wouldn't succeed. I know. And see, that's the balance. See, that's the thing. There's a balance that you have to really find right there. Yeah, Dave Bautista, he's Kratos in God of War. So that whole thing, I mean, that means the dude's going to have to get on that juice again. He's going to have to get on that, because he slimmed up because it looked like he got off the sauce. So now it's like, oh, now you got to bulk up and you got to probably get on that sauce again. Just saying. What's going on, Brian? My wife is not into superheroes, but she was all about lanterns when we watched. I was as hyped with her watching as I was with the show. So there you go. So, I mean, that's this kind of stuff too, is like, yeah, I mean, that's after watching Lanterns, I was like, oh yeah, this is an HBO Sunday show. This is adults. Yeah, there's certain things where I'm like, did we need to see Jon Stewart, bone that one, did we need to do that? Do we need to see that? No. Did that need to be, but I'm that's going to be significant to later, right? Because obviously it was kind of in the episode, but yeah, it's like certain things. I'm like, did we need to see that? No, but yeah. Where's Batman? That's the thing. That's the question. I think Batman is, he's coming. We got Clayface. Remember, Clayface is in Gotham City, so I think we're gonna get some interest. You're gonna get some hints when it comes to that. Patrick, it's ironic it's ironic that so many so-called DC fans lack fucking imagination. Man, you literally had people sitting on Damian and Chris Mundy for the last. Oh yeah, you're talking about Lindelof, Damon Lindelof. That's how stupid. Yeah. I ran into Supergirl, got to finish it, like it. That's good. It's ironic that so many DC fans will settle with sloppy, cheap nonsense as opposed to quality projects we had in the past. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. But what's funny is like sometimes they even go back to the stuff in the past and go like, oh, wait a minute, this was actually pretty good. The range that the DC universe can actually have. What's going on, Taladia? You go into a comic book shop, not everything is, I'm not going to be picking up every little comic book. The comic book accurate debate has been going on since before BBS. it was, they were saying in Man of Steel, they say it in Superman Returns. I still remember when I watched Superman Returns in the theater, the guy next to me, he literally turned to his girlfriend or wife, I don't know, his partner, and he said screw, she's like screw the comic book nerds. Like he said, because he was just kind of because he knew that, oh yeah, the comic book people are gonna like hate. It was when it was revealed that the kid was Clark's son. So, but it's been going on forever. I mean, that's the thing. It was heavily when you're talking about like when Marvel is like kicking ass and then DC starting to do their thing, and then BVS comes out and they start, obviously that was like a very controversial movie where it was like, they started like the crazy debates really started kicking into gear when it came to all that. So, what else we got? Anybody else new in here? Let's see. What else do we got? Anybody before I start going on? Oh yeah. Never doubt Damon Lindelof, says Joe Star. Okay, well there you go. I like it. So, but anyways, guys, keep on asking questions and stuff like that. When the chat gets on here, obviously, if you want to donate to the stream, always much appreciated to help out the pirate ship and everything. Definitely, if you have a question to ask the panel and you donate, you definitely will get your question answered. So, cheers, guys. I did see a movie. I saw Mutiny, the Jason Statham movie. I felt like I didn't really have to say more about the movie. I didn't even put it in a thumbnail because at first I did. I was like, but why? It's a Jason Statham movie. This movie could have easily just went straight to streaming. It's an enjoyable Jason Statham movie. My dad and I enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. We had a good time with it. We were like joking around. It's Jason Statham kicking ass. He's on a boat. It's a straight up action flick. That's all. So I don't really have more of a review. It is a satisfying Jason Statham movie. I always go into a Jason Statham movie not expecting anything groundbreaking. I just like, it just reminds me like, oh yeah, he's not reinventing the wheel. The wheel still works. So I don't really need to do that. But what I did want to talk about, one of the things that was put out there, wanted to talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day. Okay? Spider-Man Brand New Day. And apparently there's some controversy when it comes to Spider-Man Brand New Day. That's, that didn't really get spread around when it comes to controversial things because, well, it's Spider-Man Brand New Day. It's over $2 billion. People love Spider-Man. People are going to turn the other way. There's not going to be that much of a reaction when it comes to what was found out when it came to the art book that is coming out when it comes to Spider-Man. And the fact that, yes, guys, and I don't know how many times I have to say it, all studios are doing it, AI concepts. It's being utilized. It's just... I get it. Like, people don't want to replace people. We're all afraid of where AI is going to go. I totally understand that. I worry about it when it comes to my real-time job, even though I use AI tools for that job. But then I start going, oh my God, when is it going to start, really doing some things? Luckily right now with my real-time job, it's okay. But at the same time, when it comes to art, when it comes to all this, I've said many, many times that utilizing it as a tool, I utilize it as a tool when I want to put a certain filter, a really good filter on something, like maybe a thumbnail, or I want to like, hey, let's place can you make it look like this? I've even done it where I've been in the thumbnail and I said, hey, put the Green Lantern costume on me, make me look like Batman or something like that, just to add to those elements. So I do utilize that. Obviously with my clips, I'm not translating my clips. I'm not putting the subtitles. I use a program within my editor that is most likely, obviously, using AI. And Photoshop uses AI. So there's always going to be a tool for it. And there's a bunch of directors and creators out there that, yes, obviously, when it comes to AI, we don't want to full-on movies. Like when they're talking about these movies that are be coming out, you feel the soullessness. And I even know, like, even somebody who I like Roger Avery, and apparently Roger Avery is coming out with an AI movie. And I'm like, full-on AI movie. And I'm going, he's all about it. He's all about it too. I remember when I saw him he was on Joe Rogan's podcast and he was really talking about it. But I'm like, it just sucks that it's like somebody like that is really leaning into the AI stuff. But when it comes to Spider-Man Brand New Day, yes, apparently when it came to concepts, when it came to putting backdrop into when they were coming up with concepts and backdrops when it came to New York City. Yes, they use AI, but it's the sad fact of the matter is they use some pretty sloppy AI. Because as you can see, I mean, what is going on? This is part of the stuff right here. And it's like, what is going on? What is going on right here? You guys couldn't just like clean this up? I mean, it's like if you're going to use AI, fine, but then it's like go through and make sure you're, clean stuff up before you start releasing things out to the public, because the public is going to freaking put things under a microscope and check out everything you do. So naturally that happened, but at the same time, I'm just going like, where's the big time backlash that I saw Craig Gillespie get when it came to Supergirl? At least when it came to that. And yes, that was stupid for Warner Brothers, and that's why they pulled the video of the Supergirl featurette down after all the backlash. But at the same time, I was just like going, you know what? To me, when they were like going over ideas in real time and using AI to make Jason Momoa on the computer screen to look like Lobo when they were just going over ideas, I was like, yeah, okay, they're just going over ideas in real time. That's what the tool is for, a tool. But at the same time, after they figure out what they're going to do, that's still going to be handed over to an actual artist that's going to design the costume. And then there's going to be multiple human beings that are going to create the costume and fit Jason Momoa in the costume. Okay, when it comes to this is fucking lazy. But again, nobody's going to bat an eye because it's Spider-Man and it's Marvel Studios. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, do you think they didn't use AI for Doomsday? Are they not for Secret Wars? Or they haven't for previous projects like Fantastic Four or even Thunderbolts? Do you think that none of the studios are using some kind of AI when it comes to all this? Twitter, social media, so many things, stuff on this phone is utilizing AI. It's scary, yes, but it's stuff we can't even run away from. That's what's so funny. But it's just, again, just pointing out Craig Gillespie had so much hate thrown to him. I saw so many names, so much stuff. There's just got to be a balance. There's just got to be a balance when it comes to all this. That's what's so crazy about it. It's just, there's got to be a balance. There's got to be a balance to it all. And I don't know. I just wonder, like when it comes to even like VFX houses utilizing it, you got to wonder like how much has been already used when it comes to VFX, But it's just when I showed you that little background right there where the cards look all morphed and weird, I'm like, okay, a human being, like, okay. I mean, this is what's happening even with YouTube. YouTube is using AI agents and all this kind of stuff. And it sucks when you have people that are getting demonetized or their channels are being pulled down because AI has said, oh, they're violating when they haven't violated. So then, of course, there's like a whole campaign that ends up happening on Twitter, which is great when the community comes together to be like, hey, we need human beings to look at this. And that's the thing. That's where we're at right now. It's like, okay, you're utilizing AI as a tool, but there still needs to be human beings that need to look over this because, well, even just with the whole fucking AI thing in general, there's obviously got to be human beings that need to look over this. I don't know. It's just all crazy, but they're all doing it. And when it comes to real-time concepts, when they're going over ideas, it's always been a thing too, where you have like a director or something like that starts sketching storyboards. They start sketching storyboards in real time. Okay, let's do this, sketching storyboards. And then, yes, they'll hand it over to an actual artist that actually creates a storyboard, and then they can get something a little bit better. But then there's certain times where they don't even do that. I mean, Zach storyboards all his shit himself. He doesn't hire somebody to storyboard it. He does it himself. But even he has said that, yeah, utilize it as a tool. He even said, utilize this as a tool, which he did at one point. He made a short film with just his phone. And he's like wondering why there's not like a bunch of movies out there because of that. Not even talking about AI, which is funny. So yeah, it's all a crazy concept. It's all crazy. But it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It's just, yeah. But hey, Craig Gillespie, if you're going to be throwing hate at Craig Gillespie, come on now. We're just doing that, and then all of a sudden they release this. It's just, come on. Anyways, all right. So there's that. That's the first thing I wanted to kind of talk about right there. But the second thing I wanted to talk about is Inde Navarrette being cast as Rogue in X-Men, of course, that we saw last week, which was fun. That was a fun Vodka stream. We had some reactions to D23 when they announced more of the cast, and she, of course, is playing Rogue. What's very interesting is the reactions now. I mean, because she was like the darling. She was, when Obsession came out, she became the darling of film Twitter, horror Twitter, and everybody's like, she is the new it girl. Oh my God, look at this girl right here. She stole the show. I mean, Obsession doesn't make this much money unless she's starring in it, which is absolutely true. Her performance is what helped that movie. She's going to be in another horror movie, apparently, that's going to be coming out soon. But of course, naturally, everybody was wondering, what is she going to do next? And obviously, now she's cast as Rogue in the MCU X-Men movie. And people over at Film Twitter, when they found out this little nugget of news, is the fact that she turned down a role in Heat 2 because of X-Men. And I saw so many tweets that said she's throwing her career away. She, of course, is just being another. She's going to be, oh, yeah, she's just throwing it all away. She had potential, but now she's just going to be doing the superhero slop and all this and this, that, and this. Okay, so Heat 2, yes, star-studded cast. You got Leo DiCaprio. Trying to think who else is in there. You got Michael Mann. Obviously, Heat, the first Heat movie is a very iconic movie. It's great. It's fantastic. And this sequel / prequel is going to be interesting. But when people are saying that she's throwing away her whole career, are you fucking serious? Odds are her role in Heat was going to be a small one. Okay? And if she could have done it, she would have done it. But it's like, okay, yeah, but now you're doing this big thing over here. Do you not think the X-Men movie is going to be ginormous? The X-Men movie is going to be ginormous. Do you not think she signed like a 10-year deal, a multi-picture like 10-year deal for millions of dollars? She's fucking set. Even if her career doesn't blossom outside of the MCU, she's fucking set, which it will because she's a personality. She's been streaming online to make ends meet in between roles that she got on either TV or little minor roles in movies. Okay, was she out there complaining like that art director that was complaining about how much money Obsession made and how much, oh God, I only made this much. She wasn't complaining about her small paycheck that she got for Obsession. She only made $20,000. Now she's Rogue. I'm sure she's making $200,000 plus. I mean, what are we doing here? She is going to be in multiple movies. God knows how many X-Men movies. I mean, there's literally the next saga in the MCU is the Mutant Saga. She's going to be heavily a part of that. She's going to be showing up in a bunch of those movies. Those movies aren't going to, you think all those movies are going to bomb? No. Hopefully she does some other things. She's going to have some other things that she could do outside of that. Work with some really good directors. It's like, yeah, it sucks that she probably was like, oh man, I would love to be in Heat 2. Work with Michael Mann. Great. But do you think her generation even knows about Michael Mann? It's just so funny when I see these fucking idiots out there that go, she's throwing her career away. I'm like, are you kidding me? She's set for life. She is set for life. Absolutely. Even if her, like I said, if her career does not go anywhere outside of X-Men, she's set. She is set. The Mutant Saga is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. It's going to be the next saga. People are like, oh my God, the X-Men are finally here in the MCU. Oh my God. She's set. Absolutely. God damn. It's just crazy when people are, I mean, my God. But I hope that, yes, that I think she will, because I think she's an exceptional talent. After seeing her in Obsession, she's going to be like, you know what? after, being in front of green screens and tights and shit like that and being on wires and doing all this stuff, I want to do like a small role where I could show my talent. They all want to do that. Everybody, when you're an actor in these movies, it's like, yeah, you do the big movie, you do the small movie. There's a whole like formula to it. And if you could do it just right, guess what? You thrive. Because it's like, you just kind of, look at Robert Downey Jr. When he got Iron Man, it was just nothing but that. But then he did like, some side stuff, and it like worked out for him. And then once he was done with Iron Man, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, dude, Dr. Dolittle, that was a shit sandwich. But then he did Oppenheimer and won an Academy Award. Chris Evans, he's kind of struggling a little bit, slightly, when it comes to his outside roles. But at the same time, he's like, oh, well, I can still come back. And it's like, yeah, he's still set. And I think she has a bright future. Even if it's like, I think she has I don't know. I just think she has a bright future. Like these film Twitter fucking snobs. And I get it. They hate comic book movies and all that. And I get it. I totally get that. And it's almost like wondering, like, where's the comic book genre? But you know what? The comic book genre, I think, is just like, yeah, there might be even a movie that she's in that ends up not even doing well. But I guess, you cross that bridge. You really just cross that bridge. So, yeah, she's going to be okay. Opportunity of a lifetime. You can't pass that up. There's like, no matter what. There was a lull period. There was a lull period when it came to superhero movies. And that was between 2020, 2021 to about last year. I would say there was a good 4 to 5 year, especially with the pandemic, that maybe superhero roles weren't the way to go. There was like a little lull thing where like the DCEU was just failing. And even MCU was failing too. But then you get to 2025, and all of a sudden there's like, oh yeah, wait a minute. Now we're starting to get momentum, Obviously, not everything was like great when it came to 2025, like Captain America: Brave New World. But Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four they started picking up the pace. Superman did well. I love it too, because there's diehard Snyder fans that, because now that Lanterns is actually doing well. It had a good like first episode showing. Now I don't know how many times I've seen it. It's almost like they're just getting together. It's almost like a bot thing where they're trying to be like saying that Superman. They keep on saying that Superman's a failure. It's like a movie that is at $618 million. It's not a failure. I'm sorry, guys. Unless it costs like way more. I'm just like, come on, it's ridiculous. But I've seen a lot of that. Oh man, they're grasping because they were hoping that Lanterns was also going to be an absolute failure. But I think when it comes to the genre, it's like it went through like a dip, and it's kind of coming back up now. Like it was coming back up last year, and now big time this year with Spider-Man, Supergirl. Yeah, total. Obviously fell flat on its face. But now with Spider-Man and then Avengers Doomsday, it's looking better. So and I'm hoping that Man of Tomorrow. Also, I don't think is Man of Tomorrow going to do $1 billion? Probably not. But I hope it actually, does pretty well. And I hope Clayface does well too. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Inde Navarrette is going to be perfectly fine, folks. Jesus Christ. Film Twitter snobs, you got to realize. She's secured. She is now. This is a girl that was live streaming, playing video games in between jobs to make ends meet. She took a small horror project, ended up winning the hearts of so many people, and then she got a Marvel role, and is now set for life. She won the lottery with her talent, with grinding. I'm sure she had so many struggles during those times too. I'm sure she had her struggles. Where it's like, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? All this kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, But good on her. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully, like it, you know, and I hope I think she has a bright future. I think she definitely has a bright future. All right, let me start inviting some people in here and start having some discussions. Let's see. Should be a fun one tonight. Like I said, I just want to get like people's react. You know, and it's so funny too because Sci-Fi Center William is not going to be here again. I think it's because he's hosting like Lanterns screenings at the Sci-Fi Center, so he has to rearrange things when it comes to, you know, jobs and everything. You know, William has not been like the biggest fan of the DCU, and he was very much looking forward to Lanterns. And I was talking to him today, and he loved it. He thought the first episode, he's like, this is exactly what I wanted from the show. So, as much as William wanted to be here to discuss that, he's not going to be able to be here. But at the same time, it's like, oh yeah, William actually really enjoyed the show, and I would just hope that people would just, you know, give the show a chance. Just give the show a chance. It is something. It does not feel like any of the other DCU stuff. It could end up being my favorite thing. It's looking like it's going to end up being my favorite DCU thing. As of right now, it's looking like that. And the more that we find out about it, you know, all the questions, it's great. And we're going to be discussing it for the next 7 weeks, which is great too. So. But of course, like when people are like, the DCU's back. I'm like, I love it when people say, hey, everything's back. I'm like, nothing's ever left. They just had a little freaking struggle. And then, of course, you have the people on the other side that say everything was a failure except for this. And I'm like, not everything was a failure. What are you talking about? Peacemaker still did decent streaming numbers. People just didn't like the finale. I didn't like the finale all that much. Supergirl was a flop. We can all admit that. I don't care what anybody says. It was a flop. Creature Commandos also did its job too. It did numbers that warranted a season 2. Like I said, you don't just give a second season for everything. Second season, a sequel. Superman was not a failure. It was a success. I'm hoping that Clayface ends up being a pretty good success too. So I think right now everything's gonna be okay. But you know, do we know that James Gunn's gonna be there? No, we don't. I think Maxima needs to be Wonder Woman. She might be. I just think there are better ways to utilize the DC catalog as opposed to whatever this juvenile crap fest is gonna end up being. Tell me how you really feel, Phil. I don't know. To me, I just think it's like something unique, and I'm like, okay, see what that's going to be like. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what the tone is first. You know, because apparently, like when it comes to the Gorilla Grodd, Jimmy Olsen series, it was also pitched by James Gunn and Peter Safran with Lanterns. So it's like, okay, so they pitched both of those shows and then handed it off to people to handle it. So it's just a pitch, like here's the idea of the show, and then we're going to allow other creators to handle it. So I'm like, okay, let's see how they handle it. Because obviously it seems like Lanterns is being handled very, very well, even though it was pitched by James Gunn. Sorry, guys. I know there's people out there that are like, he's trying to take credit for Lanterns. He pitched the fucking show. He pitched the show. God, the James Gunn derangement syndrome is like, come on, guys. It's getting a little too much. Speaking of Statham, wish they'd do another Death Race. Oh, wow. I remember that movie. I forgot about that movie. That movie came out fucking what? That was in the 2000s. Jeez. One of Statham's most underrated movies, The Bank Job. That was a good one. Yeah. Hate to see it, like AI for a dumb little thing, but these companies can afford people, real artists. Yeah. But, they're not going to do that. They're just not going to do that. They're going to, if you could take the easier approach in the quicker approach, like I said, when it came to Craig Gillespie and Jason Momoa going over ideas, it's like, what are you going to do? You're going to wait for somebody? Are you going to wait for somebody to just be like, okay, you have some ideas? Okay, let me go home, or let me go into the office and work on it for a day, 2 days, or whatever, and then I'll get back to you. Or are you going to utilize the tool while you're going over ideas in real time? Let's face it, you're gonna utilize the tool that's gonna be able to do it in real time. It's just the way it is. People are gonna use the tool for the quicker results. That's just what it is. AI needs to be a friend. Yeah. Needs to be a friend. Yeah, we got to keep it a friend before it takes us over. I'm afraid how much AI. Yeah, I'm wondering. Yeah, I'm sure they utilize a lot of stuff. It's too bad New York isn't a real place for reference. I know. I just don't understand why they didn't just look it over and polish that shit up. Let's see. We got Absolute Venom right here. Hey, Film Junkie, how's it going? It's going pretty good. Just talking shit. It said that that actor who played the dad is taking a break from. Oh yeah, you're talking about. You're talking about David. What's his name? Who played? Jesus Christ! Of course, names are just all eluding me right now. What's his name? Jesus Christ. Let's see. God damn it. My brain just went blank right now, and I'm gonna sneeze. Oh. I can't do that. Sneeze attack. David Krumsholt. That's right. Oh. Come on, nose. Stop being itchy. Oh, my nose. My nose is so itchy. Good God. I don't know what just happened right now. I got the fan on. Maybe that's what's going on. Oy. Oh. But yeah, he says he's stepping away from acting. Exploitative art isn't art. The artists deserve a fair pay percentage for work that insists their employers in making profits. Yeah. So he's stepping away. He is stepping away, man. He's stepping away. But yeah, we're talking about David Krumholtz, who of course played Zor-El in Supergirl. He's stepping away because of the industry being all BS and shit. By the way, she was. You're talking about Indy, of course. They need Taron Egerton or the Calverine to be the next Wolverine. Henry Cavill ain't gonna be the next Wolverine. They're gonna get somebody younger. I mean, yeah, Taron Egerton would actually be pretty good in my opinion, but I know people were like, they should this dude, and it's like, no, that was all a gag. That was a bit. When it came to that, yeah, he looked awesome and he did a great job, but it's like, no, not gonna happen. God, my nose. Now my nose is all itchy. I saw the guy's video. What a moron. X-Men is better. Christian Bale. That's right. Christian Bale is also going to be in it. That's right. I was like, who's the other big? Oh yeah, Christian Bale is also going to be in Heat too. She fit better as Rogue. Yeah, and she's probably going to post a video where she's going to get that little Cajun accent or whatever, that Southern accent that she's supposed to be having. So, yeah, probably more than that. Like I said, she probably signed a multi-picture deal for like the next decade or decade and a half. She probably has more in that coming. She's probably got, who knows, depending on how many movies they plan on having her in. But yeah, she's probably like at $5-6 million for all we know. Job security is important. I mean, especially in this business. And if you, I mean, yeah, not every comic book role is going to be beneficial. I mean, if you sign on for one of these fucking Spider-Man villain movie roles, there was no guarantees that was going to be anything that was going to turn it. And yeah, and of course, some of those people are probably like, Jesus Christ, why did I do that? Because they ended up being like bombs. Sucks, you know. But it's funny because even like Amelia Alcock, even though Supergirl was a bomb, she had another movie. She's going to be like, after Man of Tomorrow, it'll be 3 times that she was Supergirl. So it was probably still worth it because she probably was going to be walking away with probably like $2 million in her pocket or close to that, you know. And I mean, even though Supergirl bombed, people weren't blaming her. I mean, obviously there's people that were trying to blame her for responding to interview questions and red carpet questions, but they were trying to twist her words and everything. Inde Navarrette as Rogue, coming hard from Tucson, Arizona, and on my side of town. Really? And down the road where I grew up. That's pretty cool. If she turned down Heat 2, the agent negotiated a 7-figure deal. I don't know how high the 7-figure deal. Okay, but her agent negotiated it. Yeah, but it depends on how big her role was. Because it's like, was she just like a love interest for one of the other stars? I mean, that has that benefits too. I mean, like, I don't know, but it's like it was not going to be a starring role. It was going to be probably a small supporting role. And it's like, no, I'm gonna be an X-Men. I'm gonna be an X-Man. So I'm just like, yeah, she chose correctly. They chose correctly. 5 movies. She's set for 9. Yeah. There's going to be the first X-Men movie. Then they're probably going to do some, spin-off movies. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Gambit is probably going to get his own movie. And she's most definitely going to be a part of that, right? I would think. So, because Gambit's so popular and the Fox X-Men didn't know fuck all what to do with Gambit. And now that Gambit is in the MCU, they're already winning Gambit fans over when it just came to like, hey, Channing Tatum, we're finally going to give you Gambit. We got a comic accurate costume for you. You're going to be kind of a joke in Deadpool and Wolverine, but you're going to show up in Doomsday and Secret Wars. Maybe Secret Wars. He might get killed off in Doomsday. Who knows? But it's like, you're still going to have your time to shine, and people are loving the fact that Gambit is there. We finally have Gambit. I mean, we had Gambit in Origins, but they didn't really know how to do Gambit there either. So it's like, I don't know. It's all crazy, man. Ooh, look at that. No one has ever turned away X-Men. Yeah, you just don't turn away X-Men. I mean, in X-Men, I think it's going to be pretty. I think after the messy multiverse saga, I think the mutant saga is going to be pretty damn good. And then they're going to probably build up Apocalypse. That's going to be the next big baddie in the MCU. But there's just so much they're going to be doing the X-Men. And then you still have this guy that's going to be a part of it. You still have the other characters that are still going to be a part of it. Again, it was probably like it was a little bit of a blessing that Marvel Studios didn't own all the properties right away, because they had to work around that, and they built up a universe without Spider-Man and without X-Men. They built up a whole universe. They won over people without those two big properties. And now that they have them, now it's like, okay, yeah, when things were kind of like, oh, we don't know what the hell, Spider-Man No Way Home, huge hit, and then Brand New Day, a bigger hit, which is crazy. Who would have thunk it? I did not think that Brand New Day was going to be a bigger hit, but here we are. And what a way to introduce mutants with Jean Grey. So, because we're talking about being in a movie with Christian Bale, yeah, it's good on your resume, but at the same time, you know, yeah, you're talking about X-Men. I don't care about Jimmy Olsen show. That's fine. You don't have to. You don't have to care about the Jimmy Olsen show. That is perfectly okay. Anthony Mackie has many movies. Yeah, they're not all good, but he does have many movies. He definitely has many movies. You are correct on that. Like Sebastian Stan. Sebastian Stan, yes. He's done smaller movies. He's done a bunch of stuff. He's navigated everything, and he's done well for himself. And then now he's in another universe, another comic book universe, while currently still in this comic book universe. Congratulations, he has many movies. Mackie is angry, Evans is back, and Pugh took his spot. Well, I mean, Florence Pugh, everybody just loves Florence Pugh. She's great. I think Robert Pattinson did it best. He was in a big franchise that gave him financial security. Then he didn't try to find another franchise. He did smaller stuff where the bar for success isn't high. Yeah. What's her name? Goddamn, why am I drawing a blank? Man, I'll tell you what. Who played Bella? Kristen Stewart. Kristen Stewart took a different approach. And kudos to Kristen Stewart. Kristen Stewart, you know, she went her own path. She tried to be in a franchise. You know, she tried a Charlie's Angels approach, and that movie was god fucking awful. And then now she's directing her own stuff. She's trying to do her own things, but man, if you watch interviews with her, she sucks at interviews. She wants nothing to do with interviews. She wants nothing to do with anything. It's like, okay, cool, just make your shit. If you made enough money from all the previous stuff, fine, make your own shit, put it out there. Don't do interviews. You could be like the cool, like, I'm the rebellious chick that is just going to be like, fuck Hollywood and all this. Fine, but you have movies that are coming out and nobody's going to see them. Meanwhile, Robert Pattinson, he's killing it right now. He is absolutely fucking killing it. I don't know. Like, Kristen Stewart went a totally different direction. She had her time, though. I mean, like, when she played Princess Diana in that movie, I mean, people were like, going, hey, you know, I think she got nominated for some things when it came to that, but it just seems like now she's kind of got a chip on her shoulder. Meanwhile, Robert Pattinson's just having fun. He's just killing it. He's having fun with all his roles. He's fun when it comes to interviews, you know, but yeah. Kristen Stewart, though, I don't know what's going on. Like, I watched like a whole like thing with her last movie that just came out, which, you know, I looked interesting. I probably will watch it when it comes out. But she just didn't want anything to do with interviews, it seemed almost. But hey, you know, whatever, it's fine. I mean, they were an item, right? During all that stuff, and apparently there was like, I guess she cheated on him. She got caught cheating on him, or I don't know if like they both probably cheated on each other. Who knows? All I know is Robert Pattinson made off. He's Batman. He's probably going to get nominated for an Academy Award. He's got a wife and a child. He seems to be doing good. Meanwhile, Kristen Stewart is making movies and not wanting to do interviews. She's making movies that nobody's seeing. But hey, we'll see what happens. And tomorrow when I do $1 billion, I'm so tired. Yeah. Probably no, I don't see it. Unless it's just got really good word of mouth. It's got really good word of mouth. Now the question is does the Batman Part 2, does that end up, you know, doing what the Dark Knight did, you know, sequel being $1 billion? That there's always a possibility for that, I think it's like really, really good word of mouth. Hey, look at that. Enoch is in the crowd. What's going on? Yo, Lancer's really good. Looking forward to see where the story goes overall. Good to see Enoch. 50% superhero, 50% mystery. And it's what I do for the opening of the whole thing. You know, keep the vibe going. Tom King's also showrunning Mr. Miracle. That's right. We still got Mr. Miracle, the animated series. He hopefully will. He'll be a streak. Yeah. Kind of curious to see the first footage and trailer for Mr. Miracle. See where they take that. I mean, I'm sure that's going to be obviously more family friendly, but you never know. It's what's going on, Skate and Geek Out. It's cool that they are extending the DC universe with these iconic characters and more projects, the better. Yeah. But I understand why people are like, you know, where's Batman? Where's Wonder Woman? It's like, yeah, totally getting that. I'm totally getting that, the complaints when it comes to that too, where it's like, hey, if you want to have like these TV shows that work with the movies, fine. But you know, yeah, I'm like going like, yeah, maybe Supergirl being the second movie was, yeah, that should have probably been its, I don't know. Supergirl was just like it was an interesting thing where it's just, if you read the Woman of Tomorrow book, you go, how the fuck are they going to do this in a movie? And it's like, well, I know they're going to take liberties, and they took a lot of liberties. And then they try to condense the movie, you know, and it just ended up being a shit show behind the scenes. Film Junkie quit snorting all the... Jesus Christ. Thanks, Brian, for saying that. Jeez. Comic book hype is huge for Indy. Oh, yeah, she's a big nerd, so there's no way she was not going to pass that. No, Robert got the gig because Kevin Feige is desperate. Which Robert are we talking about? I'm like, Robert, I'm like totally blanking. I heard agents and taxes can take up 60% of the contract. Well, if you have a terrible fucking agent. Oh, yeah, taxes are going to fuck you, of course. But still, you know, you just keep working. Yeah, Primetime is going to get Robert Pattinson a fucking nomination. Primetime is going to get Robert Pattinson a nomination for sure. I don't, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, The Odyssey. I'm like, nah, I don't know. I don't know about that. Maybe, but I don't know. I don't think people realize how hollow DC seems to general audience. DC is trying to make more fans, something I've wanted them to do for ages. DC has so many great characters with great stories. Yeah, they do. I know. It's like, how do you do that? Do you try to, you know, and I really think that Lanterns is a, you know, Superman was like, hey, we have a new Superman. We have him already in a universe that has other people. Here we go. You know, so I'm hoping that Man of Tomorrow can still capture and do better. I always want the next movie to do better. And, you know, Lanterns, I think is going to be one of those like, oh, wait, this is cool. Oh, wait. So I hope they fall in love with Aaron Pierre and be like, wait, so he's going to be in the next Superman movie? Well, hell, I'll be there. So there's always that hope. But we'll see what happens. And yeah, the Jimmy Olsen show just kind of feels like it could be just like, oh yeah, this is like a side story with this character, side comic. Do you need to watch it for like the next big movie? No. You don't need to do that. Hopefully it's not going to be homework. So keep it as like, oh, a lighthearted show, fine. It's not going to be Lanterns for sure, but anyways, all right. Let's go ahead and turn that off. We'll get some beeps in here. First off, we're going to bring in
Phil? Hey, Phil? Phil?
What's happening, Phil?
Hey, buddy. How's it going?
Going pretty good. How you doing?
I can't complain much.
But we always do.
Depending on who you talk to, I complain too much, but, whatever.
All right. Yeah, we were just talking. Phil and I were actually talking. You got your Terminator 2 tickets.
Yes.
You know what? I blanked on it, and my dad asked me about it last night. He goes, "Hey, what's happening with the Terminator 2 re-release?" And I was like, "Oh shit, I forgot about that." So it's like, it's funny because next week, that's when it comes out. Like
Saturday.
Yeah. But
Saturday.
Are there
Friday
earlier
Saturday,
showings? Is it the 28th?
I think they're doing the 28th through the 30th, but I got it specifically on the 29th because Judgment Day. Also,
August 29th.
The majority of the showings that I saw were for 3D, and I'm like, I don't want to watch this movie in 3D. So I don't want to
watch in 3D either.
Yeah, no. So I opted, and it sucks because like the theater I normally go to, that's like 10 minutes one way from my house, was only showing it in 3D. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to do that. The other theater that's 10 minutes the other way from my house, on the other hand, standard showing 7 p.m. I was like, all right, cool. I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, oh shit. Because my dad asked me about it last night, and I was like, oh yeah, I got to look in that. That's supposed to be at the end of the month. And I was like, and then I forgot about it again until you mentioned it. I'm like, because next week there was like 2 movies that my dad also wanted to see. He wanted to see Coyote versus Acme, and then the Dog Stars movie, the Ridley Scott movie.
Yeah.
And I was telling him, I was like, oh yeah, I don't know, because he only he comes down the hill for one, and then I'm like going, I don't know, whichever movie you want to see. But then I'm like, oh, he wants to see the Terminator. He wants to see Terminator 2 in the movie theater, and that's like a special movie for me, him, and my brother, because he took my brother back in 1991, and that was like big because I don't know how old was my brother. He was 12.
Older brother, younger brother?
Yeah, my older brother. He was He came out in 1991. And he took him. It was an R-rated movie. It's like my first, my brother's first R-rated movie. He took him to the movie theater. I think he was like 12.
Okay.
If I'm doing the math correctly, 12 or maybe 11 or 12. So, but he took him. He was like, yeah. And obviously, wasn't going to take me. I was too young. But then when it came out on video, and as when my mom was not around, he was like, you want to watch Terminator 2? Because I couldn't watch the first Terminator because it actually had a sex scene and some nudity. Even though it was like, I eventually watched it, my dad just said, all right, this scene, look away. And then he like fast forward or whatever the hell. But so when it came to that, and I remember like when we watched it, there was like the 3 graphic scenes that were really in Terminator 2. And he just told me like, all right, this is a scene that's pretty graphic if you want to turn your head. And I did at first, and then slowly I was like, oh, it's not that bad, and it was the scene where when T-1000's with the is disguised as the foster mom, and she stabs the other dude, and then you see it, and it's just like shink, that was like, it's graphic. And then the other one was the eyeball with the in the hospital with the security guard, the eyeball, the finger through the eyeball, and then when he cuts off the skin, off his arm, that was like the graphic scenes. Other than that, I mean, it's just a bunch of bad language and a bunch of action, So, but yeah, so then it was just kind of funny. So it was like one of those things where like he just told me like, hey, there's the graphic scenes, go ahead and turn your head, if it's too. And then slowly but surely, I was like, I would peek out and be like, I'm good. So it's like a special movie. So I'm like, God damn, we got to figure out when we're gonna go see that, because I would love to see that on a big screen for sure. So
yeah, it's funny because like when I was like 6 years old, my one cousin ended up playing Scream, right? And so that was like one of the first R-rated movies I ever watched. And then a babysitter who lived up the street from us, me and my brother were like, 5 and 3, fucking throws on the first Terminator movie at like 9 o'clock at night. Well, I'm up awake watching, Kyle Reese and Linda Hamilton, Sarah Connor, do the thing. And I'm like, oh, what's this? 5 years old. And I'm like, huh.
5 years old.
I probably shouldn't be watching this. Now that, like, looking back at it, I was like, wow, no wonder my mom never had Shelly babysit us ever again after that. So yeah, that was
I know. I think because my dad had to explain, obviously, the first Terminator, but then eventually it's like we watched, but I was like, all right, you know what happened? I think because even though my mom wasn't too happy with my dad showing us all these R-rated movies, but they were just, it was Predator. It was just movies where it was like, okay, but my mom was very good at making video, editing through like her video camera and a VCR. Yeah. So she actually made, I think the first time I saw Terminator, she actually made it and cut out the sex scene altogether. So it was completely just jumped. It just jumped. So then it was just like, okay, because other than that, the movie is just, it's a horror movie with I always say that the first Terminator is more of a horror movie because it very much plays out like that. It's very much a horror movie. And the second one is an action sci-fi.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I think that's what happened. I was, again, I had some cool parents. What could I say? But she wasn't happy with my dad showing us those movies. But
sure, yeah.
Yeah. We got Talati. What's happening, sir?
Hey, what's up?
How's it going?
I'm doing good. I'm excited for next week actually, because they're also re-releasing the Harry Potter films.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because the series is going to be coming out soon, right?
Yeah, so they're re-releasing the movies in theaters. So I'm actually going to be going to watch that, and also be watching what else was there? I also probably watch Terminator 2 as well.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. So that's cool. Yeah, I don't know if I just never got into Harry Potter, so I don't know if I'll get into the series. I don't know. Maybe I watched most. I don't think I haven't watched all the movies. I think I watched only the first 3, to be honest. Yeah,
because apparently it's the 25th anniversary. That's the reason why they released.
That's partially it too. Yeah. I mean, any excuse to re-release something. I mean, it was funny because at the movies last night when we were walking in, my dad goes, "Is there a new Nutty Professor coming out?" And I was like, "What?" I'm like, "No." And I was like, "It's probably a re-release." And then when I went out to go to the bathroom, I saw the poster. I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's been 25 years since that." I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, since the first Nutty Professor. I'm like, oh yeah, it's been 25 years since the first Nutty Professor. So they're doing the anniversary for that. I think it's 30 years. When did it come out? Hold on, let me see.
1998, I think.
Let's see.
Yeah, I think 96, yeah.
Did the Nutty Professor come out?
That first one's pretty funny.
Yep, 1996. So it's the 30th anniversary. Yeah. Yeah, the first one was great. I remember even watching, my mom actually showed me the original with Jerry Lewis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And, I mean, it was funny too, but the newer one was funnier. And then, then they did the Clumps, which was kind of like, all right, there's a bit too much, but whatever. Yeah. But everybody loved like the dinner sequence in Nutty Professor. So they're like, oh, let's do another one with just the Clumps, but
Hercules.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody loved that scene because it was all Eddie Murphy, and it was just pretty crazy. We also got Ronan showing up, or should I say Hal?
What's up, muchachos?
He's got his ring.
How y'all doing?
Doing pretty good. How you doing, man?
Good. Just got into work, but I was like, we gotta talk lanterns, man.
Gotta talk some lanterns. I mean, it's what everybody's talking about right here. And, again, like I said, William wanted to join tonight, but he's had to rearrange some things because he's hosting watch-alongs and stuff like that, where now it's Fridays. When it comes to other engagements, he has to, he can't do anything. So, but I talked to him and I was like, because I wasn't sure, because I know he did like a watch along, but I didn't watch it, and I was like, I wonder how William felt about it. So I asked him, and he said he loved it. Yeah, he said he loved it. He's all, this is the show that I was looking forward to. This is what I wanted and everything. So yeah, let's just kind of dive right into it. I know we might be Paul is probably gonna maybe show up, but if his captors, let him. If his, if they let him, have access.
That bit was awesome. Just seeing Chris and like, dude, look at your background. But yeah.
Yeah, it's always fun. Yeah. Balga's not going to be joining tonight. He had a long week. His like first full week with school and everything, so he was feeling a little tired. But he said he'll for sure show up next week. So Balga won't be showing up. But let's talk about some lanterns. I mean, how are we feeling about it? Let's kind of go around the horn. Phil, how did you feel about the first episode?
I thought the title card was a little lazy.
Okay.
Other than that, I had fun. I had fun with it. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna see it all the way through. And I think a lot of people are kind of overblowing the whole True Detective bit, because I also honestly think that this is way more Watchmen coded than it is True Detective. Obviously, Rob worked on both shows. And if you look at it, rural Nebraska in this show, and you've got rural Oklahoma for Watchmen, you've got obviously one of your big leads and big actors who's kind of carrying the show found dead at episode 1, with Don Johnson in Watchmen. Here it's Kyle Chandler, obviously spoilers, no shit.
Oh yeah. We don't care about
spoilers. So, and just as far as the characters are concerned, I think Aaron Pierre is pretty perfectly cast as John Stewart. I like, Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan. I really, really like their dynamic. I really like how you've got this like seasoned old, pissed off, drunk Air Force pilot who's just kind of teaching the rookie, even though he doesn't really want to teach the rookie. You really get the sense that Hal Jordan is not quite ready to give up the ring, and it doesn't seem like he's going to. And it seems like the only way, like he tells John, like, the only way you're getting this is off my fucking dead cold body. Well, now we know why Jon Stewart is in Man of Tomorrow, because he clearly gets the ring. And I have seen, an interview with Tom King, and he talks about who ends up with the ring. And I'm like, well, that's not shocking at all, because that's kind of how it happens in DC Comics. The real question is why does that character have 2 rings? That is the question people should be asking, not how did he end up with the ring. So I don't know. Yeah, that's just my take on it. I had fun with it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big question, is like, where's Hal's ring? And obviously, like, when it comes to Guy Gardner being a part of it, it's like, all right, so how does it play on where he gets his ring and the whole thing? I mean, and I think they did a really good job of establishing that with Hal basically talking about the Abin Sur, when he got his ring and everything, which was basically saying that, Earth was not even considered anything. We didn't need anybody to be supervising, we didn't need a space cop essentially for Earth. But then something is now going on, and then it's going to get to a point where it's like, oh, we actually we need more than one. It's going to get to a point where, oh yeah, we're not going to just need one person with a ring. We're going to need multiple. But it's going to be, but I'm like curious. I'm like, how do they play that out and everything? So, but Talati, what'd you think of the first episode?
I enjoyed the episode for what it was. I thought the dynamic between Carl Chandler and Aaron Pierre was really, really well done. Aaron Pierre was perfectly cast for this role as Jon Stewart, and Carl Chandler as an older Hal Jordan, I should say. I thought that was pretty cool. Obviously, the way, like, the timeline as well was really, really interesting. So, like, it started from 96, then 2016, then you go to 2026. I thought that was really interesting because
666.
I thought that was really interesting because you got to see Jon Stewart as a young kid looking up to Hal Jordan, seeing him on the TV, and I'm just like, oh, okay, this is really cool. He's looking up to a superhero, and then his father walks in, and it was like,
and then go outside to shoot an apple off your head. That was a little extreme.
Yeah, it was extreme, but I was like,
Jesus.
I was like, do you have fear? And
Yeah.
he's like, I have no fear.
Well,
So-
I mean, one of the things that I think, that we're going to be seeing with this series is, especially when I look to the trailer and you see, at first it seemed like it was a guardian or a manhunter that was showing up when you have Jon Stewart's mom holding him as a baby. And then you see that figure just like morph into, and it's like, wait, is that a manhunter? And like, no, that's probably a guardian. I think the guardians are already setting in motion of like, we want your son to be this. And I'm like going, okay, well, how are they setting that up and why? And they're already setting it up, and his dad is already taking extreme measures for him to be like, okay, you have to have like no fucking fear. So, I mean, what was interesting, cool little detail about that scene is there are multiple bullet holes at different heights on that wall. So he's been doing this for years, where it's like, Jesus Christ. I mean, pretty freaking crazy. I mean,
Fucked up, man. I was like, Jesus.
It's
like,
it's
but at the same
crazy.
time, it's like his dad is going, you have a purpose, and no matter what, we got to fucking do this, and no matter what, you have to show no fear when I'm pointing this gun at you. You got to trust me and not show any fear. And he didn't in that scene. There was like no fear on that kid's face.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm like wondering, because as far as I know, and every show does this, we're going to have those episodes where, oh, this is a Hal episode. We're going to get, what was Hal? Why is Hal? We're going to get that episode where it's going to be Kyle Chandler mainly. And then we're going to get the Jon Stewart episode. Why is Jon Stewart? Why is he ticked the way he ticks? It's going to be like that. I mean, obviously we have 8 episodes. They're going to dedicate one episode to both characters. It's going to be a Hal episode and a John episode, which I'm like, good, because I want to know, why is Hal such a fucking prick and why he is. Hey, he's a likable prick. Let me mind you, he's a likable prick. But, why is John the way he is? We're going to get more of that. They just set it up pretty well when it came to this first episode.
But also I will add this, right? John, for his first 24 hours, what he did in Nevada, I was like, wow, you screwed a grandma. You screwed a grandma within,
and that's gonna have some significance too, I think too. I mean, like, I was like, why do we need to see this? Why does this need to be a thing? But I'm like, well, there's, now that we find out, oh wait, that's the wife of that. And he knows.
Yes. Nothing better than eating out of a man's grill. I was like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, that was a line. That was quite a line, and I'm like, okay, so there's a significance when it comes to, again, they set a lot of things up where I haven't rewatched the episode, but just seeing like people talk and looking at theories, and then just, there's a lot of things where I'm going, all right. I set a lot of things up. I actually do want to watch it again too. I might actually on Sunday, either I might be like, hey mom, or I might even say to my brother, like, hey, maybe you're gonna like this. Let's watch this. Let's watch the first episode before the new episode premieres. I don't know. I think this I told my dad to watch it. I was like, hey, you got to watch the Lanterns. You'll like it. I know my dad will like it, but usually I go to my mom's on Sundays, and she's been out of the country for the past week and a half. So maybe if I go over there, I'll be like, hey, because I know she likes Kyle Chandler. So she might actually like the show. I'll be like, hey, you should watch this, and let's watch this before I watch the new episode. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But Ronan,
I'm definitely gonna.
Oh yeah,
sorry. I was gonna say I'm definitely gonna continue to watch the show, finish the season, because I like to give things a chance, an opportunity to see if my opinions change towards the end. Like I did that with Peacemaker as well, give it opportunity and whatnot. So I'm continuing to do that. So yeah.
Cool. Ronan, thoughts?
I love that. This is tickling that side of like, and I've been a huge Green Lantern fan, but I've always wondered, like, I wonder if they'll ever do even the slightest bit of the heart traveling hero stuff. For like, all right, it's 2 heroes, Green Lantern, Green Arrow, and they got to travel the country and deal with stuff that's happening in the country. And you feel that with this episode, not just because of like generation stuff, but how they're handling a mystery
Yeah.
and how the vet does it and how the rookie does it, and I just their chemistry is off the hook, dude. Like
Oh, good.
I think Aaron Pierre was born to be Jon Stewart, and I think what a get for DC Studios to get Kyle Chandler to play Hal Jordan. Like it is like the suave, like Han Solo, Indiana Jones vibes that I see in Hal, that I saw in Kyle's performances as Hal, and I love that they incorporated the hologram, because I'm like, this dude is not as big of an asshole as he is now, and it's like I want to know what happened between those 10 years. What happened?
Yes.
And
I love that.
yeah, and I again, we had seen it in the previews and in some of the footage, but like the whole, how come every time you say sir, it sounds more like fuck you? It's like, I have no idea, sir. And just the way they approach, I mean, I'm using it as my profile picture, but like that scene in the bar, how he breaks down like his motivation, like when and if to use the ring. That's the whole ball game, Junior. And like you see a moment like after all this bickering that like John says, that's an interesting point of view. I'm like, all right. And he tells him, tell me about your origin story. And he without even showing it, the Evansor tale, it was giddy. I don't know about you guys, but it felt like nerding out. But like, what the fuck? How Chandler is telling us about the origin story of Hal Jordan in a HBO show? Like, that is fucking mind-bending to me. And this is from someone, it might be, should be interesting how people look at it. I didn't grow up with Friday Night Lights. I haven't seen the show. I know Kyle Chandler from the King Kong movie with Peter Jackson and from Super 8 and other variety of stuff. So like that's where I got my fan base out of him, and being like, oh, out of my experience with those movies, I could see him as Hal Jordan. And I've seen the episode twice now or 3 times, I can't remember, but I just rewatched a bunch of the scenes over and over again. The interrogation scene, the whole Barack Obama, and like that's it. As a rural Nebraskan, that's the most you gotta say about Barack Hussein Obama. And like I was like, that was clever from Damon Lindelof and Tom King. I'm pretty sure they were the ones that probably came up with those lines. And what's weird? Like people have been refocusing on the shot when they find Hal's body. People are like, what the heck? John went straight to the ring to see where the ring was at. I used zoom in on it, and I've seen people zoom in on it, and maybe it's fake, maybe it's not. People have caught John, with a tear going down his eye, seeing the body of Hal. I don't know if that's fake or not, but I was like, if that's real, that is
real.
That is
it was just, you just can't. I mean, yeah, that scene was very dark.
Yes.
It was very, so it was funny because Boba Talks, he posted that on Twitter, and it was a GIF of that, and it was brightened up, and then he saw, and then when I remember I refreshed right after he posted, I was like, oh shit, I was like, I was like, wow, he did, like a tear rolls down when he finds out it's Hal, and then I reposted it, and then I turn away from my computer for like a half an hour. I go back, the fucking tweet is blowing up. I was like, like my tweet went viral. Of course, his went super viral because he initially posted. I was like, there was so many people that were like, holy shit, that they were like, and of course there was people that are like, yeah, because it's so dark. I'm like, yeah, I get it. The scene was dark. I get it. And then are we going to do that thing that we do with everything, that the color palette and then, it's dark. We're going to do that. I'm like, shut up. But at the same time, I'm like, that little, I didn't catch it. Sorry. But at the same time, I'm like, that just shows you that was a cool little added thing where it's like, yeah, this is somebody that John looked up to as a kid and then was training with and was always bumping heads. At least we've only seen the first episode. That's the thing. We don't know how much more, and we don't know how the 2016 story ends. And that's what, just that little detail of him shedding a tear for, seeing Hal dead was kind of like, oh, so what happened in these 10 years? What happened in 2016? There's so many questions, just so many freaking questions. And I think that's what they did a fantastic job of doing in this pilot episode.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like even the line, some of the lines, the dialogue that's like, telling the guy, the main guy of the family in the ranch, like, I don't know, I've been across the galaxy, seems kind of peaceful. And then, well, then why do we need space cops? Like, it's like, all right, it's a valid point. Valid point. And the whole thing about like colonizing and an alien invasion. I love the Men in Black, if you will, vibes of it.
It felt
Meets like Lethal Weapon.
There's a little bit of Men in Black that was felt.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, it's like you saw three. Yeah, I was talking about this with Scott on DC Fanimated when we talked about it a little bit because I wanted to hear his opinion on it, which of course he really liked the episode too. You know, one of the things that I was mentioning was we see three different versions of Hal.
Yes,
technically four, but we see three different. We see the hero Hal, Green Lantern, 1996. You know, when he's being interviewed, that's like, all right, he's the hero Hal and everything. Then the hologram is the nice guy Hal, where it's like, oh yeah, he's a nice guy. And then of course you have the grumpy Hal, who's like a likable asshole Hal. And
drunk.
so like we see like the three different versions, you know, so it's kind of cool that they kind of showed all that. I'm just wondering how I was talking about this with somebody else too, was I hope they don't overuse the hologram, you know, as like something where it's like, oh yeah, he's just gonna show up in every episode and he's gonna be there. And like I hope they don't overuse that aspect. I don't think they are.
Yeah.
I know they're like in the trailer that they released after the first episode came out. You do see that version of Hal in a shot. There's a shot of him somewhere. God knows which episode, but I hope they don't overuse it. But I do like the fact that we get a sense of, oh, this is how Hal was, 10 years ago or whatever the hell. And of course, it's also a new feature of like, oh, they upload their consciousness into the ring. And that's kind of cool,
Yeah.
Because that wasn't in any of the, the books.
Yeah, I don't think it was.
No, I don't think I
remember.
remember.
I don't know.
And that's cool. That's what you always want when you have a different, a new iteration. Yes, you want the elements that you recognize, but you also want like, hey, update.
Make something your own. Yeah.
Make something, and that's a cool little because, and then like, kudos to even kudos to James Gunn a little bit because the day of, he dropped that image of them, and everybody was going, why does Hal look younger and he's wearing a different outfit? I even posted that too. I'm like, Hal Jordan's wearing a different outfit here, but Jon Stewart looks the same. What the hell? And then you watch the episode and go, oh,
context. Yep.
Well, that's why. Yeah.
And also, I think that the hologram, again, I haven't seen the rest of the show, but like, I think it will be a helpful tool for John's, not sanity, but like the way he can balance seeing Hal Jordan, a guy like we've talked about.
Yeah.
He looked up to him. You could tell like he was the guy he looked up to, and now you see he's 2 months training him, and he's like just a total dick to him. And he says it like you were a lot nicer 10 years ago. And so like I imagine if the hologram sticks around throughout the series, isn't overused, but it's used just enough that maybe thanks to the hologram that helps John keep some image of like, no, Hal's a good dude. It just he's gone through some shit that I can't understand or don't know yet. And I have to be understandable, like that part of the, even though it's the ring entity of the ring, that some of Hal was at one point Hal was a decent guy. He wasn't a prick. Yeah. And was like the hologram was like almost ready to teach John, I'll show you how to fly, but like, all right, that's not up to me. Like I'm just a messenger. I'm just, a hologram. But I think that'll help John's mentality of how he sees Hal Jordan as a whole instead of just the trainer. Yeah. I think.
I mean, he does say during the interrogation, like, I respect him. Like, there's clearly something there that John is aware of that he does respect about Hal Jordan to an extent, because obviously, with the whole Sir shit, he's telling him to go fuck himself to an extent. It's funny. Like, I love that. But no, he respects him. He absolutely respects Hal Jordan. He may not like or agree with some of his methods. Hell, in the bar fight scene, he's like, this is a fucking stupid idea, but hey, go for it. Like, he just tells him flat out, like,
I love that.
Do you, boo-boo. Fucking get your ass beat, get thrown in jail. I'll be there. I won't be there immediately, but I'll be there.
I love that shot where, like, when the cops show up and they like slam him up against the wall, and
And he's
like
smiling.
Yeah.
with a bloody mouth.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Yes.
yeah. I'm like, I saw people passing around that GIF. I'm like, oh, there's a meme there somewhere. But it was funny because he kept on playing like the same song where those guys were getting upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Jon Stewart is like, I'm gonna go get laid right now. That's gonna be, like I said, that's gonna be a significant. That's something significant there. I mean, as much as I was like, oh, okay, interesting. I was like, I didn't really care for it, but at the same time, I'm like, well, there's a significance here, but we'll see how that plays out. But
Also,
we're not
the
even
sheriff.
24 hours. And
Yes.
you laid his wife. I'm proud of you.
That was awesome.
That
And
was
awesome. Yeah.
John smirked even after all this bullshit of him like being dick to him. Like he could see through like Hell's charm. Like, okay, that was kind of funny. Like that, like he's impressed that he got laid within 24 hours of plays they're investigating. Like that was awesome. And also shout out to the Sheriff Carey. I think her name is Kate. I forget her name, but she was in she was in No Country for Old Men. She's in Brave. Like
so many things.
Awesome actress.
No, she's great. She's great. I mean, well, we got. We're gonna bring in Paul. Paul, what's happening?
Hey, Paul.
Hey guys.
Hey, Paul.
Going?
Not being held hostage, I see.
No, guys. Again, I'm fine. No, if it's at this length, it's okay.
Yeah.
There's no one
That's
to
a good length.
This length, it's okay.
Yeah, this length.
Oh man.
What's going on, guys?
We're just talking some lanterns, but I'm pretty sure you've probably seen the first episode, right?
No, actually, I haven't. No, I'm actually really behind on a lot of stuff.
What?
I'm still going through Spider-Man Noir and Wonder Man. I haven't even had time to even check out Cape Crusader. Actually, Lanterns, I was going to wait. As you guys know, I'm not really like into the DCUs, but I was going to wait on Lanterns and kind of just wait until the show was done and then kind of,
Oh, that's right. You did to that. Well, shit, we're doing a full-on discussion of it.
It's fine. A lot of this stuff, at least this first episode, some of the stuff leaked like a couple weeks ago. Like I already had heard certain characters, don't make it by the end, or like in the flash forward and stuff like that. So that I knew a little bit. Something about Jon Stewart, like I think having sex with a grandma or something. I'm not really sure, but like just things.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
no, but like again, I'm not
like it sounds funny in context, but you watch.
The way that you said it just sounds so bad. But it's like, but when you see what she actually looks like,
She does not look like a grandma.
She does not. She's pretty fucking hot.
Yes.
If you actually think that woman is that child's grandmother, you are fucking mistaken. I will say that right now.
Well, it just sounds so bad out of context, but
right.
Yeah.
No. Like I'm intrigued by this show. I know William has been really excited for this show and stuff like that.
And he really liked the first episode too. So.
Great. Yeah. No, it's so the only reason I'm really into the show on top of liking the Lanterns stuff is Lindelof, because I was skeptical of his Watchmen show. I didn't see it when it came out in real time. I think I saw it like a year after, and I watched it like kind of like binged it over like a week and stuff like that. And I really ended up really enjoying it, and was surprised on how he tackled that material. But I remember when that came out in real time, it had been spoiled for me. I already knew who Dr. Manhattan was going to be by the end of the show, and I was like, oh, that looks really weird. Like, I don't know. But then I watched the actual show later, and I liked things more in context and watching the show and stuff. So Lindelof's really the only reason I'm really interested in the show to begin with. I'm kind of curious to see like how he handles the material and stuff. But at the same time, everything I've seen from the trailers, everything I've even heard about this episode, it's not how I would have approached the franchise personally, like as a fan and stuff. So I think it's not going to win me over, but I think I'll be intrigued either way to kind of see how things unfold, and how it's how Lindelof's take on the stuff is going to be basically. And stuff. But I'm hearing that Kyle Chandler's good. Obviously, as Hal. Aaron Pierce is good as John. And of course, Nathan Fillion is still, a giant jackass as Guy Gardner, but it's Guy Gardner, so that's in character, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, yeah, we were just we were kind of like, just kind of going through some of the first episode, and you're gonna get spoiled like crazy, but
it's like when you guys are, I mean, this is a lesser extent example. It's like when you guys are going through Creature Commandos. I really didn't care, like, overall. It wouldn't have hindered my experience of it really that much. I mean, I still haven't seen that show, but
That's so good.
yeah, but I know enough of the Green Lantern lore, especially like modern stuff. And I mean, even with certain characters, dying, for all we know, it could be, hinting at Parallax, things like that, down the line. So
Bait and switch too. There's that possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I mean,
there's always that possibility. Yeah.
Yeah. So everything's up for debate.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay, cool. But I mean, like when it comes to Kyle Chandler, like I said, we see kind of like three different versions of a Hal. Even like, I mean, obviously we haven't seen him fully in the costume. We kind of just saw that shot where he's sitting there on the TV, and I know we get more of that. But I do like the fact, and Scott and I kind of talked about it too, where he explains, like, when he's at that taco shop after he really tests John Stewart. And I like this part too, is like, we saw that in the trailer where he just goes, he puts the ring right on the dashboard, and he just barrel rolls out of it. And so John has to like put it on and save himself. And then he's like, yeah, meet me at the taco shop kind of thing. So then when we see Hal there, and of course he's, there's people, kids and everything that are sign autographs, take some pictures. And then they ask, like, well, why don't you wear the uniform? Why don't you wear the suit? And he kind of, it was kind of like, well, when you go to a new job, you always want to be dressed up and have like the tie and the suit or whatever the heck. And then you realize that the fucking suit is just, it's stupid, and it's a pain in the ass, and it's like, you don't really need it when you're already like, when you're just, it's just there for mainly looks, I guess you could say. So he kind of explained it as like, kind of like that. It was like, you don't really need it necessarily unless you, and then of course he mentions that, well, if I go off planet, then it's like, yeah, then I wear the suit. But here it's like, I'm okay. You don't really need it. There's not, and it's like, yeah, it's true. You don't. I mean, technically, does Superman really need a suit? Batman needs a suit. Does Superman need a suit? No, don't really need it.
Not really.
Flash, yes, because obviously you can't just wear his normal clothes running at those speeds. Sure, so it's like, so it was kind of like, it was kind of funny how he explained it, and I went, okay, yeah, that does make sense. And the sense of like, yeah, this whole thing is just doing certain things where it's like, you don't really need a suit, but it's good for the looks part of it and everything. So, but I also love too when John walks up and then Hal goes, so what did you do? What did you make to save yourself? And John goes, I made bubble wrap. He bubble wrapped himself. And then Hal was like disappointed. He was like, but like he was hoping for something better, but he was like, you constructed bubble wrap.
It's like, oh, you're a genius.
Yeah, it was a big roll of bubble wrap.
Yeah. I've always liked with the Green Lantern lore and stuff. Like, my favorite lanterns are usually like, Hal, John, and always underrated, but Kyle Rayner.
Yes.
And, I mean, I think Kyle is getting some love again in the books and stuff. Right now, I want to get it, but I have to wait till I get back home and stuff, because I got enough stuff to carry back and forth with me renting out and everything. But I think they just released Peter Tomasi's run on Green Lantern Corps, but it's like two thick giant omnibuses with Hal and everything, and it's like looks really awesome. And I know Tomasi's a really consistently good writer at DC, so I really want to check that out. But Kyle, well, the way it is like you have Hal, who's essentially he's the one that has essentially like the most will. Like he's just like, he's the he's the guy that's the test pilot. Like that's his thing. Like it's do or die, that kind of mentality. And you have John, who's like ex-military, but his whole thing is being an architect. So when he makes a construct, he makes everything like he actually builds it in his imagination. So his constructs are much stronger and much more durable than a lot of the other lanterns and everything. And then there's Kyle. Kyle is a cartoonist slash
an artist. Yeah.
Graphic artist.
So his imagination is almost boundless. So when he uses his willpower, it's like anything is possible. And of course, as you got into Blackest Night, Brightest Day, he becomes the White Lantern, which is all of the colors combined. He becomes very, very powerful, which I always appreciated. I always liked that and stuff. So, and then I start to get a little bit foggy on some of the newer stuff. I've read some of the stuff with Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz, which are more like really interesting takes on the characters and how you utilize the Green Lantern lore and whatnot, and the power sets and stuff. But yeah, and then Guy is just he's an interesting facet of the Green Lantern lore history, because if I remember correctly, he does get the ring before John Stewart. John Stewart, I believe, was created by Neil Adams basically to counteract and counterpoint Guy Gardner, because Neil Adams had basically said to DC editorial at the time, because he was trying to be very progressive at the time when he was creating John Stewart. He was like, "You're telling me in the wide cosmos, or at least on planet Earth, the ring went from Hal to a gym teacher?" in the same. So like he just So Guy is just got to at least the people who, because I have friends that love Guy Gardner, like he's one of their favorites, and he's been better done in a lot more of the modern stuff. He's more of like, I guess what you would describe him as is he's more of like a Rough Rider kind of tank Green Lantern. He's a guy you want on your team as opposed to fighting against him, because he's just relentless and a jackass. But
yes,
yeah.
If he was someone to break the rules, he's no pun intended, the guy. He's like, all right, go do your thing.
Right.
Also,
and I know Tom King working on this show utilized him, because I just got done rereading the Human Target run and stuff like that. And Guy
that's right.
Guy is a consistent piece of shit in that. And it's but yeah, like I hope they utilize that. I hope at least again, my expectations for the show are at this point, because clearly there's some limitations by what they're doing. And I think they even had said, there was an article that came out that said they weren't even sure they were going to utilize the suits. That was like a last minute decision where they utilized and brought the suits back in, at least according to what the article had said. Also, real quick question, because I'm hearing different accounts, obviously because I haven't seen the episode, but Hal Jordan, his suit is like
physical.
It's physical, right? But I mean, to my knowledge, the suits have always been constructed from the rings, but his is like battle worn and stuff. And I'm just like scratching my head a little bit. Like, did he make it physically? Or did he make it from the ring?
It's not always the case. If I'm not
mistaken, always been the case.
Yeah, the suits have not always been constructed by the ring.
Okay,
that is not entirely the case, because they go over it in Green Lantern Rebirth. They've also like Neil Adams also kind of did it with John Stewart. Funny enough, like when he was creating John Stewart, him and I believe it was Denny O'Neil, because I met Neil Adams 12 years ago when I got that poster signed behind me with Batman 251, and he basically told the story of how John Stewart came to be. And DC editorials you're referring to was Julia Schwartz.
Yes.
And when they were creating the character, they to your point, they wanted someone a little bit more progressive, but he also wanted just someone, that DC did not have like a really strong roster of African American superheroes, and Neil Adams was like, no, we need someone in that vein, and we need like I want a Black Green Lantern, like I want someone of that nature. And Julie Schwartz is like, well, what the fuck are we going to call him? Lincoln Washington? And Neil Adams looked at him and went, Lincoln Washington. You want to name this character Lincoln fucking Washington.
I remember hearing about that, yeah.
And Schwartz was like, yeah, you got something better? And Neil Adams was like, yeah, I do. Jon Stewart. And Schwartz kind of went, okay. Yeah, that works. So that's how Jon Stewart ended up with his name. But yeah, Jon Stewart in that, like, was created because at the time they did not have too many, you know, African-American superheroes, and he was made for that. So yeah, I love Jon Stewart. I think he's a great character, and like his whole creation, the backstory, like his constructs, the fact that his constructs are the strongest. I just always kind of lean towards that character. Also, you know, he's in Justice League Unlimited.
Right.
So there's that too. As far as the show goes though, yeah, no, the suits were physical in some senses, but I think in more modern senses, it has been constructed by the ring. I know the movie did that with Ryan Reynolds. So yeah, I don't mind the suits all that much. I actually thought the suit he wore when he was being interviewed is a lot more green than people were expecting. Because people were like, where's the green? Where's the green? It's like, it's there.
It's there. It's definitely there. And then I'm kind of wondering too, like when Jon Stewart gets his, is it going to be constructed? It's not going to be physical? I don't know. That's what, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it seems like when they sent out screeners to people to review on, some people got 4 and some people got 7. Nobody got the finale.
Interesting.
Rarely they give out the finales to a lot, especially the HBO show stuff. They rarely give those out.
So that's what's also interesting too. So I'm like, all right, you know, and like I said, they're you know, Hal does give the explanation of like, you know, especially since now he's been doing it for so long. He goes, yeah, well, you know, when it gets to a point, you know, when you're working at a job and you want to wear the suit and the black tie, and then you realize you don't need to do that. You know, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, you know, I don't need it. And technically, he doesn't need it. You know, Batman needs his suit. Superman technically doesn't need his suit. Flash needs his suit. You know, it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, you know, if you're trying to do a more grounded approach, you're going to have that kind of like, okay, yeah, you just need the ring. Really, you just need the ring. Yeah. Unless you want to like appearance purposes, of course, for sure. But yeah, I did like that scene. And then of course, when it came to the whole, obviously, with John was talking to the hologram, and he talked about Hale and Rushville, and that totally set off modern Hal, where it was like, oh shit, and that's where we see him fly off. I love that too, where he just flies off and just leaves John, and then John has to, like, he has to literally go through, you know, fly there and go through the whole thing, and then of course make it to the football field, to where the shooting happened at the football field, and meets up with Hal, and obviously he's looking over the whole scene, and then he looks at that one dude and it's just like, yeah, that's an alien. He's just yeah, that's fucking it. I love, there's like a meme out there. I don't know if you guys saw, where, let's see, I think Balga actually sent it to me. It was actually pretty funny. It's pretty funny, but like
when he told the sheriff, say it with me now.
Yeah,
aliens.
Right there.
Yeah.
Like the ancient aliens guy.
Yeah.
But it was just like, yeah, it was pretty funny.
No, I've heard.
So basically, he's just like, you know, he knows that guy is that, and of course he's still, obviously the whole time he's always testing John, and he's just like, hey, you know, do what you want to do. And then John goes down there and talks to Sheriff Kane, and then I love how John is just like, you know, she's like going, what are you doing down here? You're not supposed to be. And then all of a sudden the guy starts getting spooked, and then he goes, I fucked up, didn't I? And she goes, yeah, you fucked up. And then of course the guy runs off, and then he looks over at Hal, and Hal's like,
you wanted this? You want to follow the chain of command? Go for it.
Like, you wanted, I mean, I let you in. I told you not to. You know, I was hinting, don't go down on that fucking field.
Yep.
You're gonna spook this guy, you know.
I love that. It's like even when John asked him, "Well, what happened here?" and Hal goes, "Well, according to if I'm not mistaken," and then looks down like, "How come you tell me? What do you see here?" And
Yeah.
it's everything. Even when he tells them like, "How come you left me behind?" I was like, I was testing you to see if you have the will to make it over here."
Yeah.
And now it's just like, all right, the whole thing of like jurisdiction is like, we don't have jurisdiction, but we will because the guy is an alien,
Yeah.
and anything extraterrestrial, we deal with that. And it's the whole thing of John, like, we gotta follow the chain of command, we gotta do it, we do it. And it's like, okay, be my guest. And yeah, and it turns into like again, like I was saying in the Men in Black thing, it's the Will Smith chasing the dude,
Yeah.
and then that's what gets him recruited by Tommy Jones. But like, yo, this kid's got. Well, he's got in it, and like we gotta test him and whatnot. And so I love that, and the notion that like even at the end, I was like, "Hey, you thirsty?" I was like, "All right, let's go to the bar." And he's already thinking of a way to interrogate the alien dude because he's like, "All right, this jurisdiction that we got to get around of."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
By playing the song.
He's thinking one step ahead.
Yeah.
He totally is. Like Hal's always trying to think like with
not his
everything,
first
and then
rodeo.
he knows that there's something significant about Rushville because
Mhm.
he talks about getting the ring from Abensor and everything like that. So he knows there's some significance to the area, and then obviously when they go onto that ranch, that when it comes to what's his name's character,
Garrett Dillahunt.
Yeah, when it comes to that, and obviously we're going, oh, okay, so he's
Macon. That's his character's name. Macon.
yeah, and he's like, okay, and just the conversations with them, and then of course we find out that Jon Stewart's a vegan, and it's like, you're a vegan, yeah, but it's like it's just kind of funny. It's like that little like detail. It's like okay. Yeah, I got you some tofu. Don't worry. It's like,
Yeah.
It's like, all right. It's like, and then I'm like wondering, I'm like, was that in the books? Was Jon Stewart?
I don't remember him. I know Beast Boy's vegan, but I didn't know about Jon Stewart.
Yeah, Beast Boy's for sure vegan.
Yeah, no,
that makes sense.
So the things I've seen about the episode that have just been talked about or discussed. Some stuff was more of, again, because I know some things, but I don't know all of the things. But I guess there's a flashback to like Jon Stewart's childhood or something. His dad is like shooting an apple off of his head and shit like that. Now I don't know much about Jon Stewart's childhood in the books. Is his dad psychotic like that in the books and stuff? Or
No.
What they're setting up is that, and we haven't seen it yet, but we've seen like in the trailer where we see his mom holding him as a baby, and a guardian shows up, and I think they're already setting in motion that, oh yeah, we're picking you to eventually be a Green Lantern, or you're going to be a Lantern. So his dad is totally, his whole mission is to make sure that John has like no fear, like he's just, because that's obviously that's the whole thing, is like no fear. So the fact that so what he does is, and it's very extreme, but the little detail that we were talking about at first too is like when he puts him out there and then shoots the apple off his head, is you see bullet holes in the wall that are like at different heights. So he's been doing it. So he's basically like testing John all throughout his life, where he just, and I guess we're going to get probably more of that because there is going to be a specific Jon Stewart based episode, like we're gonna get a Hal Jordan episode, so we're gonna get more context when it comes to that. I know a lot of, even I was like, oh, that's extreme, but but of course, if you're looking at this like at a certain way, you're gonna be like, yeah, is his dad psychotic? But it's like we need more context.
I have a feeling. I mean, this is if I come away positive from the show, but I have a feeling that if I'm looking for something that is going to be like the books, I don't think I'm going to get that, or at least as far as I am as a fan. But I feel like it's going to be like an interesting like Elseworlds take on the stuff. Because I mean, as far as I know, at least from the books anyway, I don't think I've ever heard of a Guardian choosing a Lantern from birth. It's always usually like the ring will find the person. At least to the best of my knowledge. And like I said, I didn't know the background on John's childhood, like growing up, or what his parents like would have been like. But that's a really interesting kind of way to go about it and everything. And as far as the alien stuff goes, I didn't know about that meme about him going like aliens, but one I've been seeing with different dialogue, obviously different from the show. I think it's revealed in the show because the guy says something about Harry Potter of all things. But then in the edits I've seen, people have been making jokes about, like, what's that? Star Wars: The Last Jedi. You think it's a divisive film? That's it. That's all you've got to say about that. And then he grabs the guy and throws him against like the glass pane or something. It's like, this guy's an alien or something like that. Is that in the episode?
I think somebody turned that into a meme.
Yeah, no,
that
not
moment's been memed to death already.
Yeah, not saying the actual Last Jedi, but the actual dialogue that gives him away.
Like basically how, like I said, like so basically what happens is, obviously he's suspecting that one of the people that are there at the football game after the shooting happens, which is a very like, something doesn't feel right. He's like, that guy right there is an alien, and of course John Stewart fucks up and goes down there and spooks him and then chases him down. That guy gets arrested, but then it's like Hal wants to interrogate him, but of course sheriff is like, no fucking way, because you don't have jurisdiction. Just because you think he's an alien, that doesn't mean you can do it. So then when they go to the bar, Hal starts playing. He goes to the jukebox, he picks the same song multiple times to piss off these one guys, because he's going to get in a bar fight. So then he'll get arrested to go to the, to the police, to the jail. So then he can somehow, do that. That's his whole plan.
Okay.
And so then when he's interrogating him, he's basically like, he's asking him questions, and then he starts asking him like just random questions like Harry Potter, just pop culture stuff like, hey, okay, this, basic stuff, but do you know this, more stuff that people would actually might know and everything. So he's just kind of just testing him, as opposed to like, oh yeah, the overall things, but do you know like stuff that just like, people would just know this because. So, and then he starts doing that, and that's where the whole, I guess, people are memeing that and everything.
I was like, I think I knew the Harry Potter thing was like the thing, but then like someone were putting it in as like, what's this? You only know Last Jedi is a divisive film. I saw someone else who made the joke about it being, what's that? You prefer the gun or the Snyder Batman, and that's it. And then it's like, oh, I like them both. And it's like, you can't, like, you're an alien, or something like that. Something they've already memed it to death. So I was like, well, I know that's not the actual dialogue, but then I heard it was something Harry Potter based. I was like, that's funny. Yeah. But again, so yeah,
it opens up with Chandler's Jordan fucking interrogating the dude, and he goes, seen Harry, where'd Harry Potter go to school? And the guy's just like, I don't know. And he's like, well, there's fucking, you read the books, there's fucking movies, they made like 22. Like, he makes a joke of the fact like there's a bunch of Harry Potter fucking movies and shit. And then he's like, how do you feel about Barack Obama? And dude's like, well, Barack Obama's the 44th president of the United States, he followed George Bush. And then Hal Jordan's like, that's it, that is your breadth of opinion on Barack Hussein Obama as a rural Nebraskan. That is all you have to say. And then the guy goes, oh, well, there might be some controversy surrounding his birth certificate. And literally that's it. And he goes,
it's like the basic knowledge.
Yeah. And he's like, holy shit, you're a fucking alien. Basically like implying the fact that like, there's no way that you can live in rural Nebraska and have that little of opinion about Barack Obama.
Yeah. Why does that remind me? Because I don't know if you guys have seen it, because there's so many skits, but
you know what it reminds me of, honestly?
Key and Peele skit? No, sorry.
No, okay. It does not remind me of that. It reminds me of the scene in Watchmen where Regina King's character goes, I have a nose for white supremacy and he smells like bleach. That's what that reminded me of. It's just that witty, great writing that James Gunn frankly could never pull off. But that's honestly what it reminds me of. Shade thrown.
No, I mean, hey, fair enough. And like, so you guys probably know better than I do, because I have just kind of, I don't pay attention to the DCU as much as you guys probably do, but like, how hands-on was James Gunn with this show, with the exception of
pitched
Guy
it.
Gardner?
None.
He pitched the show, but when it came to developing, he didn't. I think it was Damon Lindelof that said, or Tom, I don't know. One of the two said that he wasn't like, giving a bunch of notes or anything like that.
From what I understand,
But
Lanterns has been in the works at HBO for quite some time because fucking Guggenheim and Berlanti, they had their own show in mind. And then
but it wasn't like this though.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And then Safran and Gunn got the gig, and
then they pitched this version of pretty much.
Well, apparently, according to not Mark Guggenheim, apparently according to Berlanti, HBO told him, we want like a True Detective style Lantern show, and Greg Berlanti was like, I'm not interested in doing that. We want to do something more space operatic.
Yeah, and I totally get that too, and obviously, like, again, my own expectations. I understand it's HBO show and stuff like that, but I also know too that they're trying, because the problem with Green Lantern as a franchise, and I don't mean in terms of adapting it in terms of the story, but in terms of the effects. You're always looking at a very high budget for adapting Green Lantern and making it look, good or presentable without it looking like a cartoon, I guess, if that's the best way to put it.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, if you're asking me personally, like, if you were talking to me like 5 years ago and you said, oh, they want to do Green Lantern, but they want to make it they want to base it mostly on Earth, and you're not going to see the costumes all that much, I would have been like, yeah, so the budget was $5, like, I wouldn't have been like that invested in that. But like I said, I'm going into this with just the mindset of them wanting to save a little bit of money, or as even with an HBO budget, but trying to do somewhat human grounded take on this stuff, because once you start getting into the Guardians, the Manhunters, the fact that the color yellow is the weakness to the ring, and like why that is, and certain things, and then of course you have the difference between the Alan Scott Green Lantern and the more modern, like Silver Age onward version of Green Lantern. I've always thought that the weakness being wood was always a more interesting idea, because that's more like scientifically based. But obviously, once you understand, like, Blackest Night and Brightest Day, you get a better idea of why the colors are the way they are and how all that works and stuff like that. But try telling that to, like, a general audience and not have them get lost or find it kind of silly to a degree. So yeah, it's an interesting concept to tackle with all that being said and stuff. But
I mean, I think that's always been the thing about it. This is like, you want to introduce the lore, but you don't want to overstimulate to be too ridiculous. People go, oh, that's fucking stupid. Like, well, I don't want that. It's like
part of the reason why the movie failed.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a huge reason. I think obviously too, they I think the movie worked with a half-baked script, because there was a lot I liked in the movie and there's a lot that I didn't like. I think Hector Hammond was not necessarily the best villain to start out with, let alone the fact that they started up with Parallax like right off the get-go. That was a bit of a it was just all over the map and everything too.
Totally.
So,
yeah. Bringing in Martin Campbell.
But it was so funny too, because like Martin Campbell, I mean, I told my dad that. I was like, I mean, this is the guy who directed Casino Royale
and Mask of Zorro.
Yeah. And I'm like, but I told him that because I was telling him about Lanterns. I'm like, yeah, I'll enjoy that. And he's like, yeah, well, there was that Green Lantern movie that came out, and that wasn't all that great. I'm like, yeah, there was a lot of studio interference. I'm like, you realize the director, I mean, I told him details. I'm like, they were just coming up with stuff on the fly. And I'm like, who the director of that movie was? The director of Casino Royale. He goes, what? I'm like, yeah, they had a good director and they fucked it up. He even admits that, oh yeah, it was a fucking mess.
Well,
he's like, I really love Casino Royale. I'm like, yeah, who doesn't love Casino Royale? It's a fucking great movie. He's a good director.
Warner Brothers took the movie away from him in the editing phase.
Yes.
He did not want Ryan Reynolds as the lead. So there was already like a whole bunch, right? There's tension. And the fact of the matter is, like, Greg Berlanti was set to direct that movie with a script from Guggenheim himself and Michael Green. and I've read that script, and it is a vastly different story than what was presented on screen than what Martin Campbell shot.
Right.
And to Dave's point, like they changed a whole bunch of shit on the fly. It was just a giant shit wreck, like from the jump. Like it was a massive disaster. They overloaded it with a lot of lore that was way too dense for general audiences, and it was just a complete recipe for disaster. But funny enough, like Ryan Reynolds did like a live tweet watching that movie some years ago, and he was like, this wasn't great, but a lot of really hardworking people worked on this. He obviously met his now wife on that movie, and he was like, it, for all its flaws, it's still nowhere near as bad as some of the other modern comic book films that have come out. And also,
he was being optimistic about it big time.
Also, though, like the movie does suffer from a villain problem in that you have a giant cloud with a head in the form of Parallax, and you have a very uninteresting, underdeveloped villain in Hector Hammond.
Yeah.
And then you've got a really great kind of antagonist with Sinestro there, and even then, like at the end when he dons the yellow ring, it almost kind of doesn't make any sense because throughout the majority of the movie he is kind of helping Hal along, and then there's just like this massive heel turn that comes out of nowhere, and it's like, oh, okay, that's serviceable if you're a comic book fan, but when you really think about it from like an execution perspective, it doesn't make any sense when you really start to think about it.
It's really funny too at the time, because obviously the comics were just so huge at that time, that run and stuff. So obviously we got to get the Green Lantern movie, but we were getting a lot of other things too. And I feel, because I saw it many years later, but I feel that the Green Lantern, I think it was called First Flight. Yes. I think that if that had been the live action Green Lantern movie, that would have been a better stepping stone than and a lot more focused than what we actually got.
It seemed like what DC was trying to do. They were like, "Oh, Green Lantern has the potential to be our Iron Man." It's not exactly like it's not the main hero. It's not Superman. We're coming on. Obviously they had Batman that was happening, Dark Knight, but obviously they were trying to deviate from that. Or like, this has potential to be our Iron Man. If we can win the hearts of people with Green Lantern, just like how Marvel did with Iron Man, it's like, then we're golden. We're golden. We're going to follow their freaking playbook. And they fucked it up.
They wanted a DC cinematic universe. They were kind of hoping to do that with Green Lantern. That's why Angela Bassett's in it as Amanda Waller. It's there's a lot of half-baked ideas.
I always forget that she was Amanda Waller. Like, wow. Like, she would have been great.
Yeah, I remember it being Amanda Waller, but it's kind of almost, it's not a blink and you miss it cameo in the movie, but
it's like a cameo plus role ish.
Yeah, I always forget that Amanda Waller's in that movie whenever I think back on that film. I honestly put the Green Lantern film kind of in essentially the same realm as the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie, because like because if you know the books,
I get it.
If you know them well enough, there's a lot that the movies get right, but there's a whole lot that they get wrong. And funny enough, like there's a lot they have in common. Obviously, like the two main romantic leads ended up hooking up in real life. The villains are actually played very strongly by underrated performances. Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin, I thought was really good, really interesting take on him, and Mark Strong as Sinestro are both very like memorable performances. And that's like, oh man, it's just like they were just in kind of like a subpar movie. They kind of had like a half-baked idea, and but that's kind of where I put it. It's not like, it's nowhere near like the best, but it's nowhere near the worst. It's just somewhere in the middle is just this movie that it just didn't have the right direction, basically, or it got interfered too much by the studio trying, because Daredevil was trying to be another Spider-Man, and Green Lantern was trying to be Iron Man, basically. I think so.
People they're trying to copy stuff. But Talati, I know you got to take off.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Dave, and I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend.
Same.
Stay safe out there.
All right, see you, man.
See you guys.
But when it comes to this, I mean, obviously there's much more. I mean, one of my favorite scenes, obviously, when Hal does get arrested, and then he's they do the whole court scene,
Mhm.
and the judge is going, hey, your jurisdiction is not like, who are you working for that you have jurisdiction? And he's just like, I'm
Oh, the
Green
Green Lantern.
Lantern. He's like, I'm Green Lantern. It's like, I work for Green Lantern, and I'm a Green Lantern. It's just like he has no way to bet, but it's just a funny scene, and Kyle Chandler does such a good job where he's just kind of like, I'm fucking Green Lantern. What do you want me to do? Like, he has nothing to back him up, but it's just a funny scene. I really liked how he how it all played out, where he's trying to plead his case, where he's like, yeah, I'm Green Lantern, but we have to realize that yes, his jurisdiction is always extraterrestrial, but there's been no hintings of that, so he really has no dog in the fight. So he has nothing, and he's just, I'm just Green Lantern. Sorry, I don't know what to tell you guys. I have a hunch. He just has a hunch. But obviously, he does finally get access to interrogate that dude. And yeah, once we were talking about when he's doing the pop culture stuff, and then as soon as the guy starts going, well, hypothetically, and then he starts talking, and then I love it when Sheriff Kane just goes, "Oh fuck!" Like she immediately goes, "Oh my god, the dude is a fucking alien." Because he goes from being just plain stupid to be like, okay, so hypothetically, say I am an alien, and starts saying all this shit. Man, the fucking tension it's almost like a ticking time bomb, this scene. Literally. And even John's like, oh boy, and it's just, they both stand, like he stands up because he was sitting down behind the glass, and he's just, it just starts getting very intense. And then he starts saying like, oh yeah, say that I have like something in my head where if I set it off, maybe I'll level this whole town or something like that. But then once he starts saying the oath, that's when Hal gets it triggers Hal when he starts saying the oath. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Like he starts getting like, because he starts reciting the oath. Ooh, that's when Hal is like, you fucking piece of shit. And then he goes, is your ring charged enough? If I were to set off a bomb, like, would it be able to hold the charge? And even Hal looks like a little bit like, do I have enough charge in this? Yeah. He's like, it's a very tense scene. And it's funny too, because I wanted to bring up this shot right here when he it's a very good shot in the show. So when he pushes them up against the glass right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this shot was telling something, to be honest. And I've seen some other people say it too, because just the way that everybody is positioned, I almost think that she might be an alien too. And they're kind of representing that because she's directly reflected on him. And then you got John perfectly reflected behind Hal because he's going to be a lantern. It just seems to me like maybe that this shot was telling that she might be an alien.
I don't know about that because the end of the episode has her meeting John.
I know, but maybe she. One thing they emphasize in this scene too, again, when we lead up to the dead body that is Hal Jordan, they talk about how there's 14 species of shapeshifters that are on Earth. Mm-hmm. And John mentions that not even Earth technology can detect whether they are alien or not. Right. They were big time emphasizing that, and that almost leaves me to go, so was the body that they found in 2026, is that really Hal Jordan?
I see.
There's always that. So that had me questioning that too. So is Hal really dead, or was that somebody who shapeshifted
to make it look like Hal is dead?
Yeah.
Right.
So
a lot of
real
questions.
Quick. Well, because I know from what I've seen of the trailers and stuff like that, are they talking about Martians? Are they talking about manhunt? And this is very good to distinguish.
just
Not
the
not
manhunters.
Martian manhunters, but
It's not
like
Martian.
the. Okay, and it's not. And
Not
is,
at first.
Is it all right? But are they mentioning? Are they talking about the manhunters? Because
The Manhunters have been confirmed to be in the show. They
Yes.
confirmed it at Hall H. I was there. No,
Okay.
like they showed us
They
a clip
didn't say
of a
Martian.
manhunter. Yeah,
Well, no,
they
it's
did
just
not
that
say
I-
Martian, but they confirmed that manhunters are in the show.
No, and like I figured the manhunters were going to be because I believe they mentioned it in the trailer. It's just I don't know because in the books, to the best of my knowledge, I could be wrong, but the manhunters are basically just robots that guard and do things, and then of course they didn't follow the mandates set by the Guardians. They go rogue, so on and so forth. They're still consistently over the eons hunted down by the Lantern Corps to kind of just be wiped out essentially. But it's looking like the manhunters are also being able to shapeshift from what the trailers were giving off and stuff as well to blend in with whatever society they find themselves in as sort of like either a a method to blend in to sort of survey or whatever the case is. But also if they're sentient enough, they can they do it as a survival tactic, I guess. But has that been touched at all so far, or is it just
Not yet.
kind of vague? Okay.
Not yet. No.
No, they haven't touched that. They haven't touched. They've talked about the Guardians. That's about it. But we already know that Lori Lenny is a Guardian. So, and obviously she's in human form. So obviously she could shift. So, and then of course when we saw that person kind of form into, and at first it was like, oh, that's a manhunter. Or is that a Guardian? That in the trailer you can't even tell because that's when like you see this being like shift into something that has like kind of the straps that look like an X, and you're like, Manhunter, or and that's in front of Jon Stewart's mom when she's holding him as a kid. I'm guessing we're gonna find out because, like I said, we do have. There's going to be the Jon Stewart heavy episode and the Hal Jordan heavy episode.
Okay, so the Guardians appear in the show so far as human or human.
At least one of them does.
There is at least one that shows up. Yeah, and it's portrayed by Laura Linney. They have not clarified whether or not they've gender bent any of the Guardians.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm trying to remember. I know a lot of the Guardians are male, but I do believe there's one or two that are
there might
actually
be one. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like one or two that are female. So just for clarity for people who don't know the lore, like it's again, DC continuity aside, people who write the Green Lanterns are usually long time fans, and it's pretty consistently, and this goes back decades. This isn't anything new. The Guardians are pretty consistently dicks. And they don't have a human understanding of certain things, which causes tension between Hal, John, Kyle, Guy Gardner, so on and so forth with the Guardians and stuff like that. So much to the point that they've been killed many times. Funny enough, more will show up, or they find a way to bring them back one way or the other and stuff like that. One of the biggest things that happened in the 90s was when Hal resurrects his Parallax, or is becoming Parallax. He kills all of the Guardians.
Oh, yeah, he kills all of them, right?
Yeah. He kills a bunch of the Green Lanterns. That's where that thing comes from, where he's got all the rings like this.
Yes,
because he's killed a whole bunch of them. And then, of course, the one ring is left over, goes to Kyle. And then Kyle basically ends up being the only Green Lantern of that sector.
Which is funny because the reason why when Green Lantern finally makes his appearance in the DCAU in Superman the Animated Series, it's Kyle, because he was the one that was in the books. There is a little tiny Easter egg that when something's happening,
it was the time, it was where Kronos was doing shit, and it was a turnover because the time was losing its fluidity. So every now and then a wave ripple would happen and something would change for 5 seconds and then go back. And Hal shows up for 5 seconds and then leaves basically.
Well, no, I'm talking about in the episode, when they were fighting, they literally are in like an airfield, and there's a jet, and you actually see Hal Jordan's name on the jet.
Oh,
it was like a
yeah.
little
Okay.
Easter egg that they put in there. It was like, oh yeah, there's that. But at the same time, essentially, even though like Kyle Rayner, like, yeah, he's an artist. They legit did it, but essentially it was almost like what they did with Tim Drake, where they kind of like morphed his, like, it's like Tim Drake, he's smart, but he's also Jason Todd in a sense when it came to like, oh yeah, he came from the streets and he's kind of like his father's a piece of shit and everything. It's like, oh, okay. So they kind of morphed it. And so they kind of did that with Kyle Rayner in Superman, the animated series, where it was like, yeah, he's an artist and everything working at the Daily Planet, but then, the ring finds, and it's very similar to how, Hal Jordan's origin. So they kind of morphed it, but it was only because, oh yeah, Kyle Rayner, he's the Green Lantern right now because of what was happening in the books, which was, made sense, I guess. But
yeah. I mean, personally, because I'm a '90s kid, obviously, like, and going back and I kind of jumped into it with the Jeff Johns run because it had been collected, and I was told that was a good place to start because they do a lot of good. When Jeff was getting the book, he made sure to do a lot of like rehashing to kind of catch up old readers to kind of know what had happened.
Yeah.
And then a lot of it was a resurrection because, like, I mean, personally, I understand Green Lantern fans being really upset at the 90s. I think Kyle got a lot of baggage on him as that character. Well, between the fridging incident, between having to inherit it from Hal and all of everything that happened with Hal. But then Jeff Johns and his reconstruction of everything kind of made everything kind of work because he reconstituted Guy, he reconstituted Hal, and then Kyle ended up still being very important later on, and so it was a huge balancing act too, and also like having to deal with John as well. And John kind of takes sort of a back seat, but at the same time, the core was rebuilt. And I mean, Hal's run was so vicious in the 90s. I think he even kills Kilowog. I think even when he's like leaving and like trying to take over the Green Lantern Corps and everything. Like it was like a really, really rough run. And it's fun to read in hindsight when you know that everything's going to work out later.
Yeah.
But someone getting that in the 90s, like, oh, here's my old friend. Yeah.
Like, yeah. They were kind of following suit with DC at the time because they had just killed Superman. They broke Batman's back. Barry Allen had been dead for a few years. So they decided to kind of do the same thing with Hal Jordan, but they kind of took it a step further and they completely decimated Coast City. And that is something when the Guardians step in and they go, you can't do this. And Hal Jordan's like, get fucked, I'm going to. And that's when he decides to kill all the Guardians and loses his shit. Then they retcon it with Parallax and it's a whole thing. So.
But I love the fact that Death in Return actually causes the thing with Green Lantern. I think that's at least kind of a cool cause and effect as far as like comic lore goes and stuff like that. And I mean, I chalk it up to the 90s because you have Nightfall, you have Death and Return of Superman, you have the Parallax, you have the Clone Saga with Spider-Man. Like every huge superhero had some ridiculous nonsense happen to them.
Right.
Where it not only was it a thing that changed them and was this pivotal moment in their lore, it was like usually has something to do with like some sort of like identity crisis because Superman has to deal with the fact of himself being gone from the world and replaced by all of these like, imitators that kind of come out of the woodwork. Batman ends up giving his mantle to Jean-Paul Valley, which is one of the worst things you could have done. And and then he has to reclaim the cowl back from him as he goes crazy. Hal loses his mind and doesn't become Hal anymore. And that would take a much longer time to resurrect. And then, of course, you have the Clone Saga being that there was a brief time where Peter didn't think he was the main Peter. Like, he thought he was the clone, and Ben Reilly thought that he was Peter. So that was a whole thing. So, but yeah, like I said, it was the 90s and all those things. But no, my only thing that I've heard that I'm not sure how it works or like what they're doing, and I could be wrong, but like again, one of the main things that I like about the Green Lantern lore is that there are multiple Guardians on Earth. Lanterns on Earth, and this seems more of like the ring has to sort of be passed on or inherited from one Lantern to the other, or at least it seems like Hal is training John as a replacement. Is that what's
Yes.
happening?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But
So
but when we get to the point of, you know, when John finds Hal dead in the high school football stadium where they, you know, it took place 10 years prior, and immediately you see John, you know, obviously he sees the bullet in his head, you know, the bullet wound, and sheds a tear, which was like, I didn't see it first until somebody, because it's a dark scene, so you don't really see it, but then somebody brightened it up. I was like, oh shit, I didn't see there was a tear.
right.
And it's that he kind of shed a tear for Hal, but then he immediately looks at his hand and the ring is not there. So this scene to me is establishing that John never got the ring. He became an architect because he looks like he is got money. He's all decked out. He's got the turtleneck. He's driving a nice car.
He looks like he walked straight off of Justice League and Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah.
Oh,
people were
and
comparing that like crazy. Like he's looking just like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's looking very, and I'm like, okay, so he went off to probably, you know, he went off to be an. So the question is like, what happened in those 10 years? Obviously, Hal still had this ring, and then you wonder, okay, I mean, obviously, if you're just wondering how the show is going to play this off. It's like, okay, so we know that Guy Gardner has a ring. It's not the same ring. Some people are going, oh yeah, maybe the ring went to Guy. No, it didn't go to Guy because he already had a different ring. And we know it's not the same ring. This is 2026. In 2025, he was already well established, already taking sponsors and doing all the fucking whatever the hell. So that's just like the question that whole thing was like asking. And then when you see the future, like, or when you see the trailer, you see Guy Gardner and John, like apparently Guy Gardner thinks he's Batman because he literally has a lantern signal.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So that's how they, but then something happens where John gets put into jail and then Guy is talking to him in the jail cell, and so that's very interesting too, where it's like, all right, so we're going to get more 2026, and then we're going to be, obviously the main story is 2016. So how does it, go together and everything? So I like that because I like it when stories work parallel together that are, two different time,
Yeah, because there's a back and forth and stuff.
Yeah.
I think they're missing out on like, very good fan service. Like, just replace Hal with Guy, being shot in the head, and I think you got instant great ratings like immediately. Like everyone's like cheering in the streets, high-fiving each other. But I mean, that's just me.
But again, general audience doesn't know. Agree, yeah. But yeah,
I know that I hate Guy Gardner.
Everybody hates. And that's what's going to be interesting too. Is like, how does he play into it? Where like, because there's a lot of people that are going to be watching this that didn't even watch Superman. That are going to be like, who's this fucking asshole? And why? Yeah, they're probably going to think like what you said. It's like, why couldn't he get shot? He's a fucking dick,
Yeah.
But I'm kind of wondering like how. I mean, there's probably going to only be one episode that Guy is going to be there. I don't see him showing up throughout. But then again, maybe he'll show up in the finale. Who knows?
So Guy gets,
yeah,
because with it they're playing with time and like supposedly in the place and where the Superman movie happens, Guy gets Hal's ring because Hal dies or something. Is that what happened?
Well, that's how that seems how like where people were saying that, but that doesn't make
Tom
sense.
confirmed that in an interview. That
yeah, but I think when you listen to that, I don't think he was saying that he gets Hal's ring.
No, I'm pretty sure he flat out said that Guy Gardner.
No. But I think I talked about it too. But I think the way that he was like saying it is like, yeah, it sounds like. I think he not misspoke, but he just didn't speak to like how that. I think he just like he didn't choose his words wisely, I guess you could say, because if Hal died in 2026, Guy was already a Green Lantern in 2025, and
right.
prior.
So then the question begs: he has 2 rings now. Why does he have 2 rings?
Okay, so then there'd be like, yeah, exactly. There could be that too. It's
So-
like if Guy does have the other ring too, so if he has 2 rings, why? There also is that.
Just real quick, because I
Why
don't.
didn't it go to John?
Well, here's my thing. So I don't know. I know that like in the books, like certain characters get things, and then obviously John was created and so on and so forth. But like, what happens in the old books? Like, what happens to Hal that allows Guy? Because I think Guy. Does Guy also become a Green Lantern at the same time that Hal becomes a Green Lantern, and they're both Green Lanterns, and then eventually John also becomes a Green Lantern in the old stuff?
If I'm
Do you
not
guys know?
mistaken, I think I don't remember the exact context, but I'm like pretty sure the ring goes from Hal to Guy to John. The context of why I'm still a little space. I knew this a long time ago, but I just over time I've forgotten. It's just
Yeah.
The basic gist of it that I remember is it goes from Hal to Guy to John, and then once it gets to John, the Guardians kind of come to the conclusion that okay, maybe we should have more than one lantern on Earth. So they all
Because
inevitably end up
some
getting
significant
rings.
stuff is happening,
Yeah.
and there's
Not
like
to-
they're
yeah,
looking
not-
at they're kind of looking at them as like backups.
More or less, yeah.
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 I mean, I don't want to give too much away. This is about the books. I mean,
Yeah, of course.
I mean, they've been around for a while at this point. But yeah, as time goes on, also on top of the fact if you count Crisis lore and stuff like that with the DC events and everything, but basically the old joke of Earth is the center of the universe within the old science and stuff of like how people used to think, it's kind of true to a degree in the DC universe. Earth always kind of end up being at the center of like a lot of this crazy shit happening. I mean, the fact that Superman lands on Earth, the fact that there's many lanterns on Earth, and yeah, so Earth is just kind of like this epicenter of just a lot of differing events sort of just happening. I mean, I don't know how you'd really explain it. I guess it's kind of it's somewhat happenstance. I guess we lost Ronan.
Yeah, we lost Ronan. Yeah.
Okay. It's somewhat happenstance. I guess it's also kind of like where it's like Star Wars, like where Tatooine is not meant to be an important planet, but it
Yeah.
always just sort of seems to
They
be in
emphasize this in the series because
Oh, they do.
Yeah,
Okay.
because when Hal and John, because like John is like he's heard like a Cliff Notes just brief like from Hal, like how did you get the ring? So then when they're in the bar, Hal starts talking about more about how he got the ring. How he was in a basically this bubble formed around him when he was I think he said he was flying, right?
Yeah, I mean, the lore is that he's doing a test flight.
Yes.
It goes wrong.
And then he all of a sudden a bubble flows around him, and then he just flies off. And then obviously he appears where Abensor is obviously crashed. And then he even says, yeah, he's coughing up all this fucking glowing blood and shit like that. And he says all this oh god damn, where was I going with this? I totally just lost my train of thought. But yeah, he's explaining to John. Damn, I totally forgot where I was going with this. Yeah, I lost it.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, so
What were we talking about before this? God damn.
well, no, we were just talking. I think we're just also trying to compare book lore to series lore.
Yeah.
We were talking about Earth and how Earth sort of.
Oh yeah,
is-
that's where I was. Okay. Down
Okay.
when you said Earth, because he mentions that when it comes to like the gardens and everything like that, that they didn't consider Earth to be any kind of critical anything. It was just off the beaten path. Like, oh yeah, we're watching this section of the universe right here, or the galaxy right here, and Earth wasn't like special. But then all of a sudden something happened, and it's all about this Nebraska town Rushville, because that's where the crash of Abensor is at, and then this is where something is happening here. So now all of a sudden Hal is going, there's something special about
Rushville.
this
Yeah.
this town. And And then even when they visit that ranch, there's that one dude was like going, there's some shit.
Yeah.
Some shit's coming. Some shit's coming. Like that dude was going, and we were very, who knows, we don't know exactly who this guy is, but we're starting to suspect that this guy is not from the planet. And he's basically even talking about colonization, aliens taking over. He's even hinting at now things are, and I think like what it's all been kind of leading up to is like, oh yeah, now Earth is going to be, it's a planet now that some bad fucking aliens are going to be showing up and trying to take over and everything like that. So everything's kind of being set in motion from over the decades of like, we got to get some protectors here for sure. So they're setting that stuff up. Welcome back, Ronan.
They almost got me, man.
Huh?
The aliens, they almost got me.
They got you. They almost got you. No, we were just kind of talking about how, because Paul had the question about with everything when it comes to Earth and why everything's starting to happen here. And it's like they kind of mention how at first Earth was like not even on the radar of even being protected.
The backwater planet. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden something's going on. And it all starts with Aventura like crashing and Hal getting the ring. And that's where it's all starting, where it's like, oh yeah, our Earth is going to start getting to be important, where something's going on. And Rushfield is the epicenter of whatever. That's where the mystery is of like, why is it this town?
I'm trying to remember too, because a lot of I appreciate a lot of the lore, but a lot of my knowledge of Green Lantern is more of the modern stuff, but also at the same time, and obviously, as you guys know, and I think Phil knows this, like I'm not a huge fan of Jeff Johns as a person, but as a writer with DC, especially with Green Lantern, like that is his magnum opus. But one of the biggest things with him doing Green Lantern, because he did the run for a very long time,
9 years.
Yeah, but he simultaneously was taking previous lore that had existed or things that had existed and kind of streamlined it and made more sense. He was able to create he was able to basically run with it and create a lot of the other Green Lantern corps that came along, Lantern corps that came along, not just obviously Sinestro's corps and the Green Lantern corps, but all the other stuff dealing with the Red Lanterns and so on and so forth. But what he ended up doing was sort of also like retconning a lot of the lore too at the same time. So sort of like it was like, okay, he saw with how the writing had been handled, he was like, okay, so now there's multiple Green Lanterns just from Earth or from Earth who are part of this particular sector of space. He's like, that shouldn't have probably happened, but I'm going to rework this and try to make a point of like why Abensur landed on Earth and like why it went to Hal, the happenstance around it. I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe the leader of the Red Lantern Corps, he was not a Red Lantern, like the Red Lantern Corps did not exist yet, but the guy, Atrocitus, was responsible for Abensur's like injuries and all this.
And there's a heavy suspicion that he's showing up in this series.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I hope they give him the Blue Kitty Dexstar. I think that'd be awesome. But obviously, it's probably not going to come out the way that I want to see exactly. But we'll see what happens with that. The one thing I've always wanted, I don't know if it will happen within the DCU or where the DCU is even going to be within a couple years, and that's more because of the mergers and the studio stuff. But I've always wanted to see this piece of lore like adapted, and because I believe I could be wrong on this, because the three big lanterns outside of the Earth stuff is basically Hal, Kilowog, and Tomare, who you see in the Green Lantern movie and stuff. And I believe
duck or fish, if you will. Yeah,
he's an alien species. I believe Tomer was the one who was responsible over the sector that dealt with Krypton.
You're correct.
And he was suspicious of Krypton, that something was going on the planet. But either he had other responsibilities within the sector, or the Guardians did not let him interfere, and it caused the planet to explode. And I would have liked to see a scene with that character and Superman like having a discussion about Krypton, because I would have been very fascinated to see that. That's something I've always wanted to see done in the universe. Obviously, we're not going to get to that in this show and stuff, but that's just me as a fan going on about that. But yeah, right now, because you guys have been talking to me about lanterns, so my brain immediately goes to Amazon. So right now I'm getting the Kyle Rayner compendium. This is the one benefit of having any show dealing with DC, is that the people publishing stuff want to get other stuff out there as quick as possible. So that, I'm getting the Peter Tomasi run, the 2 giant omnibuses, the Vendetti run, 2 giant omnibuses, and I think also now Vendetti's run on Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, because when they did the Rebirth run, not Green Lantern Rebirth by Jeff Johns, but the actual DC Rebirth like run of Green Lantern, they ended up doing 2 separate series where they had regular Green Lantern, which was basically Simon and Jessica Cruz on Earth, surveying Earth and dealing sort of like a buddy cop comic.
Oh yeah.
And then everything else with the Green Lantern Corps in space, dealing with Hal and Kyle and all the other stuff, like with the other Lantern Corps in space, dealing with that. And that's the Vendetti run of that. And like all of those things going on with that. That was like 50 issues. It was pretty good though. It was like a solid run. I thought it was a bit like underrated and stuff. So now I've got all that to look forward to read later this year when that comes out. So thank you.
You're welcome.
That's good though. That's something that I think they would want out of the show. Like, all right, can we get newbies and people who've been waiting for something new for lanterns, but also be able to go get the books that inspire us to go and pick up the stuff. Like, I've been subtly looking for anything more that Darwin Cook has drawn of Green Lantern, and being able to get that, whether it's a single issue or it's like just revisiting the New Frontier storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right, let's see how that looks like and how that goes with me following this every week. But I liked it when a new project gets people to be like, let's go look at the material for the past, even if it's not around the same character, it's in the same ballpark. Well, let's go try it out.
No, yeah, that's what's going to be interesting to see how everything unfolds. Because obviously, when they showed that the trailer of like more things that are happening, obviously the 2016 timeline is like the main thing, but there's going to be jumps to the 2026 one, and then of course we're going to get, like I said, we're going to get more backstory on John. We're going to get more backstory on Hal. And like I said, it's like I'm just wondering what that finale is going to be like, because again, is Hal really dead? Is that really Hal? Or are we pulling a fast one here when it comes to all this?
So the 3 timelines, or at least what I've seen, is there's the past where Hal Jordan has become Green Lantern. That's like 1996.
Yeah,
then
when they interview him, he's 1996. He's already been Green Lantern for 10 years.
10 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So 1996, he's already been Green Lantern for 10 years. Interesting. Okay.
He just made himself be known.
All right. Interesting.
Yeah.
So then 2016 seems to be like sort of the main timeline where like he's training Hal.
Yes.
And then there's 2026, which is like after
Present
Superman,
day.
like, and that's like the scene when in the stadium and stuff.
Yes,
okay.
That's where they find Hal dead, and that's where I think we're gonna get flashes of that, where John is trying to figure out where the ring is and who killed Hal, kind of thing.
Okay.
So, but then it's like funny because it literally is like it's always 10-year jumps, because it's like Hal's been Green Lantern for 10 years. When we see the interview in 1996, the hologram is from 2006.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when we get the hologram, which is like a new thing where, they upload the consciousness of the owner of the ring into the ring. So it's like, okay, so then when we see the hologram, that is 2006 Hal Jordan. And then you got the 2016 Hal Jordan, who's like a grumpy, fuck whatever, I'm just doing my thing kind of thing. But then you kind of, so there's a lot of questions of like, geez, what is going on with all this the time jump and how does all work together, which is cool.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, when we first were pitched this show, they're saying that this mystery revolves around the first chapter of Gods and Monsters. That like this is its own story, but yet it also will affect stuff going forward. So I'm very interested to see how big of a thing they're having to deal with in Nebraska. Besides finding out who did this to Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
Interesting.
If that's actually Hal Jordan.
Yeah, I know.
We'll see.
That's the mystery. That's the mystery. And then, of course, how does it, obviously we know that Jon Stewart's going to be in Man of Tomorrow. So is there going to be any kind of lead up to that? Are they going to even, apparently there's mentions. I mean, I think they're going to mention a Batman thing when it comes to the stupid fucking Guy Gardner and his lantern signal. That's probably going to be mentioned that, oh yeah, there's a Batman out there somewhere. And then I just wonder, like, yeah, when are they going to mention a Superman presence? Some people are thinking that Superman's going to make some kind of cameo in episode 8. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. Everybody,
hope not.
People are like, always thinking that, yeah, that Superman essentially is the Nick Fury of the DCU now, where he just shows up. But he didn't show up he only showed up in Supergirl. So, but that makes sense that he showed up in Supergirl. Does it make sense that he shows up here? I don't know. Are we going to see Jon Stewart like get the ring and then all of a sudden the ring just forms a costume on him? We're going to get his full on costume. That could be cool. I kind of hope that maybe we'll get that where we actually get Jon Stewart and his full ring constructed suit, or maybe it's a physical suit. Who knows? We know that when he's a kid, his dad gives him a Green Lantern kind of thing. We saw that in the trailer where he like holds it up. But that's what's also interesting too, is just the fact that his dad is so set on, son, you are going to be a Green Lantern. So I am training you to have no fear. This is why I'm shooting apples off your head and doing all that. It's just, that part kind of interests me right there.
Yeah. I could see them very well doing, like they'll interject little comic book things throughout. I'm assuming how long is the show, by the way? Like 10 episodes?
8 episodes.
8 episodes.
8 episodes, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I could see them very well integrating little things like that. But as far as the costume goes, I have a very deep feeling, because obviously it seems to be like they're leaning toward it being, Jon Stewart's show. They're gonna do the Surf Dracula thing. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, I think I mentioned it before. Surf Dracula is a joke meme basically, but it's a thing about where, like the old parallel is, oh, he's Dracula and he surfs, and the old version of the character is like, the old style is it's like 20 episodes and he's Dracula and he's surfing every episode. That's his thing. He keeps doing that. The new iteration of the story is it's like 8 to 10 episodes, and the first couple episodes he gets the surfboard, he finds out he's Dracula, and then by the ending of the episode he gets the surfboard, he's Dracula, and then he goes out on the waves for the first time, and now he's Surf Dracula. Like that. A good version of that is basically Daredevil season 1. He gets the costume at the end of the show.
Yeah.
So I could see realistically them doing that thing where, like, Hal is old school, or he's the Tommy Lee Jones, obviously, and Jon Stewart is the Will Smith. So he integrates, he understands, he knows how the ring works, and then he uses that to create the physical construct. He might be taking things from his childhood, and he makes the new suit for himself at the end of the show, and then probably flies up into the sky or towards Metropolis or wherever they want to do if they're trying to set up for Man of Tomorrow. I could see that being, that being the end of the show.
It's not even so much that we need a Superman cameo, but maybe like a little hint of like, oh, there's this one dude, Brainiac, who's out there, and maybe they may hint to that.
Yeah,
I don't know. It almost seems like, they I think I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of hint, if they're doing like if episode 8 is going to be I mean, we know that they're going to go off planet, and we know that there's things that are going to be happening in the 2016 timeline. But then I'm kind of going like, all right, but when it comes to just, I'm not trying to build anything up like, oh yeah, they're definitely going to hint at whatever. But I just wouldn't be surprised if you're dealing with something like, these characters that are out in the cosmos, that maybe there could be some kind of hint of like a Brainiac, and then it's like, oh yeah, there's a Brainiac, and he's coming to Earth. Maybe there could be something. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, the Guardians would probably know about Brainiac.
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
very, very powerful entity. His whole MO is like learn a planet, destroy the planet. So he has the knowledge of the planet. So yeah, I would think he would be at least in their database, or at least they would have a record on him and then of course if he's coming to a planet in which a lot of the Lanterns are focused on, yeah, that would be a big deal. So yeah, I mean, I can see it integrating in that way, but
Yeah, I think what would be useful if they look into that is that, like, okay, this show's about the torch being passed in a way that it's both commendable and understandable from both sides. Whether Hal's still alive or not, he could be like, all right, I've had my run. It's time for John to take on the ring, and he's the perfect guy to carry on this responsibility. And also for the notion that even though Hal's been throwing these jabs at John, that John's like, no, there's a reason why Hal's been the Green Lantern all this time, and we got lucky. Earth was very lucky to have him be the Lantern all this time. But now, like, all right, that's one thing to be a Lantern, but now you're in a world with other heroes who are more your contemporaries, who are not older, or probably around the same age as you. What is that like? And what is that like when you have a common threat that you may not be able to deal on your own, but you all need to do something together? And so I think that'll be a good dynamic of like extraterrestrial stuff and dealing that with a mystery and then with a broader threat down the line. I think.
Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting how they tie things together. I don't know. I know, like, the whole concept of the DCU is supposed to be like everything is like its own little thing, but it does tie into the whole broader thing. But they don't want to do like the full-on Marvel thing where it's like, oh, here's the end of this, and guess what? There's fucking, there's Thanos, or there's, the hint of this. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting, but yeah. But for the most part, at least the show might end up being my favorite thing of the DCU. Just because I'm loving the dynamic of the characters. I think both actors are great, and I love the mystery aspect. I love all the questions that they posed when it came to all this. And I know when everybody's freaking out that, oh my God, look at this, the DCU, they just fucking kill Hal Jordan. I'm like, but we don't know. It's gonna be funny when this whole thing plays out, and then all of a sudden the people who are like the most like throwing shit at the fan is just kind of going, oh yeah, see, I always love it when they say that the people who are making the content hate the characters. I like that. That's this is the stupidest thing, because it's like, why would somebody, like, when they have like these characters, go, oh yeah, I hate Hal Jordan. Let's kill him. Let's kill him.
Yeah, just for spite.
I want him dead. And like, we'll make sure he's dead. Fuck all the fans. Like, who would actually? You're getting paid a very good salary to try to come up with something new, something different, something interesting, and something where not only do the fans of the character can get into, but you also have to bring in new fans. Because again, I think this is where in 2026 we've really lost that whole thing where it's like, hey, not only is this like we know the stuff, but we also, it has to appease to other people that have to get interested in it. Like if they do like a one-on-one, like, hey, we're gonna adapt this. I saw a video, and I brought this up at the beginning of the stream when I was just talking about myself. There's somebody that brought up a really good point of when people talk about comic book accuracy. And it's almost like when comic book readers who are not crazy want comic book accuracy, they just want to be like, oh, you're alluding to this book. Does it have to be a one-on-one? No, but you're just alluding to this. He brought up the comparison that, like, when the Avengers first formed in the books, the story was Loki, coming down and, hey, Loki is doing some shit, and then all the Avengers get together to take him on. So it was like, okay, that's kind of like, hey, so the first Avengers movie was kind of like the first Avengers story way back when, where it was like, okay, it was that. Does it have to be directly the same thing? No. And then when certain people go, hey, comic accuracy, most of the time they're alluding to a certain book that is more of an Elseworlds book. It's not the main timeline book. So a lot of people always do that whole thing. And they even brought up too, when it came even to Lanterns, they're like, oh yeah, this John Stewart straight out of the fucking, comic books. But then they're posting stuff from the animated stuff. And it's like, that's not comic book. You like the animated stuff. And this John Stewart reminds you of that. It's like, that's not the same thing. It's like, so he was bringing up a lot of good points where you have people on both sides. Like when you have the real diehard fans, the diehard Green Lantern fans fucking hate this shit. They're like, fuck this. God damn it. We can never have a good Hal Jordan and all this kind of stuff. Yeah.
I was going to say, for them, I mean, I get it. Like, again, I went into I go into this show when I will eventually watch, and I know the pitch and like what they're going with. So I try to keep my expectations to that. But
yeah.
If I came just off of if I had just read the Jeff Johns run, just for instance, and I was told this is the Green Lantern show you're getting, I get why they're upset, because, to be fair, the Lanterns for me as a fan are best utilized when they're in space. It's a space adventure comic for the most part. I mean, there's plenty where Hal is on, planet Earth, rebuilding Coast City, or checking in on his family, or dealing with Carol. The Danvers from time. No, sorry. Am I saying that? No, Carol Ferris. Sorry.
Carol Ferris.
Yeah. Danvers is Captain Marvel.
Yes, thank you. Cross wired. Pilot, you get it. Anyway, point being is that, like, there's stuff that happens on Earth, of course. There's stuff that becomes important about Earth, but for the most part, they are space adventures dealing with space cops doing space things. And and I've talked to you guys about. I mean, I just did this whole stream about how they're probably trying to do it on a somewhat of a budget. But yeah, I mean, and I don't know if you guys remember me talking about comic book accuracy, that you can go back to, the 30s and 40s, and like how much outside media with comic books then go back and influence the comics all consistently, all the time.
Totally.
Superman flying originated because of the Fleischer cartoons, and then they made him fly. The idea of Kryptonite came from the Superman radio show, and like, I mean, it goes on and on. I mean, Batgirl was invented because of Batman 66. Then she was brought into the comics.
Harley Quinn was from the animated series.
Mr. Freeze was completely redone in the animated series. Then it was made.
Clayface.
So comic accuracy only goes so far.
Yeah.
And like I said, my only argument, I'm saying this now because I feel this is where I'm headed. I feel this show for me will probably be a good show. I will probably enjoy it for what it is. But if you're asking me like, oh, is this what I wanted from a Green Lantern show? I'll probably say no, quite honestly, because it's not what I would have done or what I would have wanted. But I'll probably still like the show. And like you, Dave, I might even end up being my favorite thing about the DCU. So, and I think that's more to do with like Lindelof and his team, maybe less so James Gunn, but like, hey, the fact that he was smart enough to kind of stay hands off and let them do their thing, great. So
yeah, you feel it. Yeah, especially after the pitch he gave us 3 years ago. It's like, for better for worse, this is what he pitched to us. This is most of what we got. Right. And that's something people have to like sit around with. And I like that you guys brought up the whole thing of like hardcore fans and welcoming new fans, because people still think that gatekeeping is not a thing, and I see it still with Ace, and it's like, guys, like, if we want to just be the small group at the local store, then we're not really thinking about broadening stuff up. And especially, like, I think this is a great entry point if you want to know about Green Lantern stuff, is it the be all end all? No, I would tell also people to pick up a comic or two here, but like for people who want to just get a taste of the characters and what it means to like work with a magic ring that has a battery life of 20 or 48 hours or whatever, like this is a good entry point, and it's entertaining, intriguing, it's engaging, and it makes you want to at the very least check out the next episode, which I think that this pilot,
Right.
which is ironic they called it a pilot because of how did I think.
No,
Yeah.
and listen, I mean, I try to be very aware of myself with, you know, my own gatekeeping or how I view things. But for the most part, I try to be open-minded about most things. As you know, like Phil and
Right.
I fucking hated the Superman movie. We weren't fans
Right.
of it really at all. But my cousin, she's got a little 4-year-old boy. She was talking to me about it recently, and you know, her kid, you know, he's very little. He doesn't have a wide understanding of all of this stuff. I think Spider-Man is his favorite, but I was like, because I was talking to her about Brand New Day, and she was like, "Yeah, what do you think of the new one?" I was like, "Oh yeah, no, I didn't like it." I was like, "You know what though? Like honestly, in terms of that movie, I'm like, your 4-year-old son will probably enjoy it," and he did. So like, you know, like I leave it at that, and I'll recommend for what audience I'm talking to or what their preference for the material might be. On the other hand, too, I understand fans being protective to a degree, and I understand like people in the industry getting IP or projects that maybe they're not fans of, or they don't know the material as well. But I mean, for better or worse, I mean, Jesus Christ, people accuse Zach of not being a fan of this stuff, and everyone here knows that's not the fucking case. Zach had a
Yeah.
different way
Well,
of going about it.
that's what they're saying now with like
Right.
these, like with James Gunn, with Damon Lindelof and Tom King. They're
Tom
like,
King
oh,
and
they
stuff,
they
yeah.
hate they hate Green Lantern. I've seen some people who are like talk about this stuff all the time say that they hate the characters. I'm like, that doesn't even make
Yeah.
sense. I'm
No.
like, this is the same thing where like people said that about Zach. They're like, oh yeah, he hates Superman because he wanted him to be like this
No,
and
he
be all
loves
brooding and all
Superman.
this. And it's like, fuck off. Like,
Yeah.
what are we talking about? It's just an interpretation. This is
Yes.
their interpretation.
But on the other hand, and this is probably leaning more towards video games more recently. You know, I have not watched either show, but I know the Halo TV show that was on, I think Paramount, and I think the Resident Evil show with Lance Hendrick, or wait, Lance Reddick.
Lance Riddick.
Oh yeah.
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 I heard that those shows were not great, and they were not. These were people that clearly like had an idea, or at least knew of the IP, but clearly were not really fans of the material. They were just given it to be like, hey, run with this, go with this, see what you can make of this. You know, make this for like a general audience type of thing, and it didn't work out. You know, and so I understand fans wanting it to be a certain way, or wanting it to be good for them as well as for general audiences, because the truth is, and we know this, like if it doesn't work out, or it fails, or it flops, you know, we're not going to see an adaptation of that for like another 5+ years. So they have to wait longer to get this iteration in live action, or whatever the case is. So again, obviously I'm not for gatekeeping, but I understand certain fans and the way that they act, or the way that they feel.
But at the same time, what I always say is like, this is where AI is going to end up winning, because, you know, AI is going to end up beaming into everybody's head their version of what they want, you know,
for better or worse. But
and we're all going to be sitting in those chairs like in WALL-E. And
no.
I hope I'm long dead before that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I don't want to. I'm always open. I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen in my comments or in my Twitter section where people say like, now I'm betraying Zach for liking the new stuff, and oh, you turned on Zach. I'm like, what are you talking about? I support like all the other stuff that you know he's done other movies besides the DC stuff. I mean, and I wanted to actually talk to you guys about, you know, the Last Photograph finally got footage.
A teaser. Yeah.
And it looks absolutely fantastic. I talked about it. I, clipped it out, and I'm like, this is going to be fucking good, because I mean, right down to, we got Hans Zimmer that's fucking doing the score for this tiny movie.
I didn't know
that
that.
just
That's
shows
awesome.
you something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You hear that? Well, I want to play it again, to be honest. And then Ronan, I know you got to take off. But I appreciate you showing up and talking about some lanterns and stuff like that. So, but yeah, thank you, Running, for showing up. I know you got to take off.
I know, yeah, thanks, man. The weather and the signal was acting weird, so I was like, oh man, I gotta go take care of this stuff, and I don't want to be just jumping in and out. But yeah, man, it was fun talking lanterns, and
Yeah, dude.
yeah, that teaser was something else. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm intrigued because again, I didn't look into it. I'm like, what the hell is this movie about? I'm like, all right, cool title. I'll be down to see more footage. And yeah, I'm ready to see in the playback you guys to talk about Inde Navarrette as Rogue because it's like, come on, guys, we wanted X-Men news, we got it, and now people are bitching and moaning left and side. It's like, there's no winning when we get X-Men stuff here and there. It's like, chase their own. But it was good chatting with y'all.
Yeah, good chatting with you, man. Take it easy.
Take care of yourselves.
Good night.
Take it easy.
Good night.
But I mean, like, yeah, I mean, I get that shit all the time where it's like, oh yeah, you used to support Zach. I'm like, when have I not? I'm like, it's just because because I'm not shitting on this stuff and wanting the Snyderverse to be like, oh yeah, like I gotta, like, every video has got to be restore the Snyderverse. And then of course there's this whole narrative that publications and grifters out there that are now pivoting to, because Zach talked about wanting to do a full-on Dark Knight Returns movie. And then it's like, I keep posing the question. I'm like, you guys realize if he does that, that's not Snyderverse. That's like its own thing. He said so many times that it would just be like how Watchmen is, where he would just try to one for one try to adapt what's on the page, just like in 300 as well. And of course now fucking stupid ass Cosmic Book News is going like, oh yeah, he wants Ben, he wants Henry. I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Why would he want the actors who are in the universe that he established to be part of this story that has nothing to do with that universe? He's even said in interviews, I think he said it in Josh Horowitz's interview, that because Josh Horowitz asked, like, who would you bring back, Henry and Ben? He goes, no, it would be like its own thing, and I'd want to get somebody that's like even bigger than Ben to be Batman, because Batman's so big in the story. And it's like, that's why I'm like, it just like irks me when I'm going like, what the fuck do you guys want? Do you want Snyderverse or do you want this? Like, you guys are just like going back and forth. And I'm like, and I get it. Like if like a couple years down the road, when the whole merger finally goes through and they go, hey, Zach, go ahead and make your Dark Knight Returns movie, I'm there day one. And the movie probably would do gangbusters, but it's not going to star Henry or Ben. It's going to be its own thing. And it's going to be like how Zach said, it's going to be like Watchmen, and it's just like a one-off story, and that's it. But then it's also funny too, because I see Snyder fans, the more diehard ones, go, I don't want this. We already got a lot of it in Batman vs Superman. He already injected. And then
there's also the animated two-parter that also launched as one movie as well. So which I mean, that's what he would be fighting against, because I mean it's pretty much almost a one-to-one adaptation. So he would have to I think kind of do something a little bit different. Look, personally, I would like more Snyderverse. I would like his version of Dark Knight Returns. I just want DC movies that I actually want to watch. I had no desire to see Supergirl. Apparently nobody else did. The Clayface movie looks like it might do better, hopefully. I mean, just because it's more based in the Batman universe, but I have no idea how that movie's going to perform. Yeah. It's DCU, so I'll probably wait a little later to check it out. I'm just not in any rush to run. I'm not in any rush to run to the DC movies in the way that I used to be. But that's me. That's my personal.
I mean, I get that, but I mean, I think you got to take it as a project to project basis, in my opinion, because Supergirl during with all the madness of summer blockbusters and stuff like that, there was so much where you can do that. But when it comes to something like Lanterns, I think it's something that you should, check it out.
Oh no, I am. I want to wait till that show is.
I know, done. But then you're just gonna get spoiled. Like
I got kind of spoiled on Watchmen, and I still enjoyed that show as well.
Okay.
I mean, that's the way I look at it.
I don't know.
I know, but I totally get it. But funny enough, like, because it kind of plays, because Tom King's involved. the way this is playing out almost feels like a Elseworlds Tom King kind of comic, you know, because I've always said to you guys, I've always liked his stuff when he does a limited series. I think that's where he shines the best, is when he does that stuff. So, and I've had stuff spoiled from those as well, but I still enjoy the book because it's kind of like the journey, or it's the way. It's like if you're listening to like a good song and like how the song flows. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I'll try my best not to get spoiled. But between
It's gonna be very
Twitter,
hard.
I know it is what it is, but it's fine because I still enjoy just discussing, and because even at the end of the day, even though I'm not a DCU person at this point, like I still love the idea of what ifs and Elseworld takes, and just like, okay, this is the direction they're going. Like, for better or worse, it could be bad, it could be really good. You know, like I like to discuss that, and kind of like, you know, like one of my biggest things, you guys know, I wasn't huge on the Batman, but I've come to really love the Matt Reeves verse, especially after Penguin and stuff. But like, the more I dissect that movie and I go back and I look at, like, you know, Matt really did do his best to try and make it his own, and he had to follow like all these other huge directors who took on like one of the most popular comic book characters
Yeah.
of all time. So I still think it's a fascinating like journey to kind of, you know, dissect that movie and kind of like, you know, like look at it from that perspective and stuff. So
To me, I'm like, I think you should look at Lanterns like that a little bit, because like I said, I think it's the most unique of the DCU projects. I think just watching episode 1, I'm like, oh yeah, this one stands out. And I think Clayface is also going to do the same thing, where it's like, you don't feel any James Gunn, because I know, you know, that's a big factor. You don't do that, and I think, like, yeah, I don't know. I think waiting 7 weeks, I don't think you should do that. I think you should just dive into it.
It's more because, well, look, I mean, how do I put this? Like, those are the books that I have to go through.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, or I can't show it. All right. Anyway, I've got like 4 piles of different books. I've got 3 different shows I have to go through. I have a lot. I just have things that have just sort of piled up, and I just haven't gotten time to really sit down and go through everything. So Lanterns for me is sort of just on the back burner, but I'm fascinated by their choices, even from the first episode, because my friend texted me about it and gave me his general thoughts. And I told him, like, I kind of got spoiled and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, it was a bold choice. Like, I hope to see like where they go, like with that death, if anything becomes of that. How does Guy Gardner factor into this? Like just kind of like, it's I mean, you know, even for better or worse, I'm not comparing this on any level, on the same level, but like Secret Invasion started off very interesting, and then that show fucking, you know, went off a cliff. But it was interesting for those first couple episodes. You're like, where is this going? Like, what are they doing? You know, I don't know if Lanterns will do the same thing, obviously, but it's interesting just to sort of like, you know, just take it in and just see like what they're going to do. I think I'm speak for everybody though, whether you're DC fan base or Marvel fan base, both companies, or both studios dealing with live action need to figure out how to represent and really talk about the cosmic level stuff within their comic book universes, because DC just hasn't really been able to tackle it. And then Marvel, I feel for the most part, is relying too much on the Guardians aesthetic to really handle it and kind of give it more of the gravitas that it needs. Fantastic Four did a pretty decent job, I felt, with Galactus. And I think and for better or worse, I know not everyone loved Eternals, but I think they handled the gravitas of the Celestials pretty decently, in terms of like,
oh yeah,
you know,
that shot where the clouds just, and then it just, I was like,
yeah,
that's frightening. That's fucking frightening.
Yeah, that gave me confidence that Galactus would actually be handled well.
Yeah, and Galactus was the best part of Fantastic Four, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, well, that and just the just the pureness of the 60s utopia world that they were in.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that.
The aesthetic was good too. Yeah.
Yeah, but the space stuff was good. The space stuff was handled.
Oh yeah, that
fun
whole
care.
I think that's the I was like not the biggest fan of the first and third act, because first act it was like, oh yeah, here they're doing their thing, and I'm like, okay, But then once they got to that point where they're traveling out to Galactus, and then
Mm-hmm.
that whole thing of the chase with Silver Surfer,
Yeah.
Surfer, and then when she almost gets that whole scene was like, oh wow, this is fucking awesome right here. And then when they fight Galactus on Earth, I was like, I like a lot of it, but some of it I was kind of like, meh, But
the final battle,
I
mean,
yeah.
Unfortunately, that is a formula staple of the MCU at this point, is like final battle CGI thing, and
yeah,
I don't know. I at least found it entertaining. I liked how they utilized Franklin for the most part. Like the fact that we're already at Franklin, I think is really cool. And obviously Franklin seems to be a big deal in Doomsday.
Oh, yeah.
So I got to see how that turns out. So the fact that they have me invested, even though in this Doomsday will probably be a little bit of a nostalgia ride and certain things like that, the fact that I kind of care, especially at this point in the MCU, I think says a lot about like how that first movie, like really works for the Fantastic Four, for better or worse. I have friends that still don't love like Pedro as Reed, or they thought that like Ben Grimm could have been more like a little more cartoony in the way that he is, the way he talks and stuff. But like for better or worse, I really enjoyed that movie, and I think those bases and again, I don't know what DC wants to do with the cosmic stuff, but the Marvel cosmic books and the DC cosmic books, like dealing with space, when they really get something good going, there's really a lot there to unpack and unwind, and like the sky's the limit. If they can get the right people working on that and get that going well, like you got a great space opera like waiting to happen. X-Men might even be the like the Trojan horse to kind of get to that point too, because of all the space stuff that they deal with in time as well too.
Well, that's the thing, is like, X-Men's going to be, again, I think it was like, as much as it was a curse, but it was more of a blessing. The fact that they didn't have all the movie rights for everything. I talked about this in the beginning of the stream too, is like, and I've talked about it numerous times, like it was almost a blessing that they didn't have X-Men or Spider-Man right at first, because they built this whole universe and built this empire without Spider-Man, without X-Men, and now they have them. And guess what? That's what's saving, because the whole multiverse saga got a little messy, but what worked? Yeah. Spider-Man, and with No Way Home, the multiverse element worked big time with that, with all the Spider-Man and all that shit like that. Mm-hmm. And then you wait 5 years, you make another Spider-Man movie that introduces an X-Men character, $2 billion within 3 weeks. It's like, Jesus Christ. So that's why, like, when I saw film Twitter go crazy when they were giving shit to Inde Navarrette for passing up on Heat 2 because she's gonna now be Rogue, and they were like, oh yeah, she just threw out her whole career. I'm like, are you fucking serious? She has a guaranteed paycheck for the next decade and a half.
The only way that could be a bad decision for her is if like they would have to fumble the X-Men so big hard time.
But they're
like,
not.
No, I would no.
There might be.
It'll be different. I don't think it's obviously not gonna be a 1-to-1 like Claremont adaptation, obviously. But if you want my honest opinion, and I go back to the animation, use X-Men 92, X-Men 97.
Yeah.
There's your fucking blueprint. Like, again, you don't have to be 1-to-1, but like that's your blueprint. If you guys are not aiming to do a multi-level cast, across multiple different types of stories, and trying to branch all that stuff out and try to like, give characters their due, then don't fucking do it. Because at least with Avengers, it's a little bit, I'm not saying it's generic. It's just more of like, the heroes that have their franchises, but, there's only so many Captain America story. There's only so much Iron Man stuff you can do. But like the X-Men are so good that they are their own franchise. They are their own universe. Almost.
That's why it's like, literally the next saga is the mutant saga.
Right.
So that's why I was like, when people were saying like, oh yeah, she just threw her whole career away for superhero slop. I'm like, she probably signed a 10-year deal for like, God knows how many movies, and she's now like making millions and millions, as opposed to if like she were to do.
She's probably. she's probably going to make anywhere from like 500,000 to $1 million.
Yeah.
And then it'll get bigger, because that's what
For
happened
each.
with Tom Holland. I mean, granted, he's
Exactly.
Spider-Man,
Yeah.
but then every progressive movie. I think he had a back end deal.
Oh yeah,
Brand New
for
Day.
Spider-Man, he's making $100 million on the
Yeah,
back.
he's gonna be
Like,
he's gonna
what
be
the
fine.
fuck? I mean, Jesus. I think he got, I don't know how much he got initially. I forgot, but I know he's guaranteed
Yeah.
like $100 million on the back end.
I personally want him to be Spider-Man forever, at least
He
until
will be.
Yeah. Well,
I think he loves the character so much, he's never gonna stop.
No, I think what they're personally gonna do, because between the comic books and Spider-Verse, I think they're gonna kill Tom. And again, this isn't spoilers. This is if you've read the Ultimate stuff, the
Yeah.
original Ultimate stuff. This isn't like anything new. I think they will have it where he dies in some horrible way, depending how they want to do that. Miles will carry one movie by himself, and they'll see how that plays. They'll test it and hopefully not fuck it up, but like give Miles a good story, give him a good thing to do, and then maybe they'll do like a team up movie like Spider-Men, where it's Miles and Tom together doing.
Oh, that's the next No Way Home.
Yes, and no AI. Please, no AI. Unless it's all
that whole thing.
That's about it. Yeah.
Well, it was just concept stuff, you know. Like I said, no matter what, all studios are doing concepts when it comes to all this kind of stuff. But there's always going to be that. I mean, no matter what, AI is going to be utilized, as long as it's not fully making a movie and fully doing things that are taking it out of the hands of like real visionary, you know, artists out there. That's the thing. Is like, and that's the thing, you know, when it comes to AI, no matter what, I mean, even if you don't even know you're using AI, which is kind of crazy. It's like it's all over the place. It's here to stay. But you know, like when Craig Gillespie was shown using, because they were running over ideas of like how Jason Momoa would look as Lobo, so he had the computer up and he was doing that. It was like, oh yeah, they were just doing it in real time. But at the same time, it's like they're just doing that. They're coming up with like a little concept real time. And then that's going to be sent over to an actual artist who comes up with the actual design. And someone's going to create the design to make the costume with all the dimensions and everything. And then they're going to fit them, and they're going to be doing all this kind of stuff. It's like, no matter what, it's still going to be, you know, yeah, that's just the way, you know.
I personally believe, like, I mean, listen, they're going to do what they're going to do. And I think they're going to get the certain backlash that they probably have coming. But the way I look at it, I'm not fully anti-AI. I understand using AI within medical fields or certain things like that, or for statistics, or I want to finish an email really quick, whatever. Like, okay, I get it. Personally, at least from my perspective, if you're using it in any creative process, like I think you're hurting your product by doing it. Now, granted, Spider-Man was very minimal. It was basically just like cityscape concept type of deal. Like, okay, whatever. But like any creative process with that kind of stuff, like just don't do it. And I only say that because like you have so many people in the industry where that is like their job, like that's their thing. I mean, Lobo, I mean, you've got like 40, 50 years of like so many different variations on what the character looks like.
Yeah.
You could just throw a bunch of different comic pages at somebody, and then they can come up with costume designs. Like, I don't think you need to do an AI prompt.
But I think using it in real time was not a big deal, because it's like, if they were going to have somebody be like, okay, here's what we want to do, then it's like, all right, I'll get it back to you in about a day or two. They were just doing it in real time. But then no matter what, the concept was still going to be sent over to an artist, to an actual human being, to create everything and then fit the costume and everything. There was real people that are going to be involved. I mean, no matter what, studios are going to use the easier approach. Just like you said, oh, when you want to use, like, you know, instead of writing out the email, you're just going to, come up with an email response. That, you know, it's just, it was, to me, it was something that was like, they were just in real time going, well, what if it looked like this? Or what if it looked like that? Okay, we kind of got a concept. Now let's send it over to somebody who's actually going to full on design it. That's why I was like, not that crazy about it. But of course, you know, it's always going to be crazy about it. And when it comes to Spider-Man stuff, my whole thing is like, did you not look it over? Did you not look it over? Because some of those backgrounds, the fucking cabs in the background are morphed together. It's like, just give it a once over and clean it up. Like, I use AI when it comes to like my captions on my clips. I'm not translating that. I use a program within my editor that is probably used in AI, some kind of AI. And I look at it and make sure it's, I don't catch
it makes
always.
sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if it fucks up a word because it doesn't know what I'm saying, I have to go and fix it. It's like, just check over your work at least. It's supposed to be a tool, not just a fucking, just let it do its thing. So it's like, you have to just be like, to me, it's like there has to always be a human element in everything. I don't mind you using it as a tool, but there's got to be a human element always involved. And that's just my stance of it. And I don't want it to be like, don't just be creating full-on scenes with it. Fuck that. Or creating full-on movies. We've seen those clips and they're soulless. They're soulless.
Yeah.
Like when you see full-on things, and I've seen that stuff, and I'm just like going, all right, I like the concept. I like the story that you're telling, but I don't feel anything from your fake fucking actors.
It's if you guys, I know it's silly to bring up, but if you guys are SpongeBob fans at all, but like there's the episode where SpongeBob is like, he pulls the sword from the stone essentially, but he's a fry cook, so he basically can cook for King Neptune. But King Neptune sees he's SpongeBob. He doesn't believe that he's worthy of doing it. So they have a contest to make the best Krabby Patty or burger or whatever. So SpongeBob spends all this time making one Krabby Patty, and King Neptune makes like 1,000 of them, and like using his magic or whatever the case is. And then he gives all the Krabby Patties to everybody in the crowd, and everyone spits them out because they taste like shit for some reason. But he eats SpongeBob's one. It's made with love, and it's terrific. Like that's the way I look at AI. That's kind of how it is,
I know it's a touchy thing, but like I said, it's one of those things where it's just, I don't know. It's like when people get too crazy with it, but I think this is a good spot to end the stream. We're all, we're getting a little tired, but if you haven't seen Zack Snyder's The Last Photograph footage, we're probably going to be getting a trailer pretty soon, full on, where you actually know a little bit what's going on, maybe, but at the same time, it's like the footage that he showed, and again, Hans Zimmer scoring,
and it's backed by A24 as well.
We don't know yet,
okay.
But we're suspecting that because he did post that he was at A24 a couple of months ago. So,
okay, cool.
But anyways, so yeah, we love that. Like I said, we're at least two of us are digging lanterns. We're hoping to get Paul more on board. Yeah. But and hopefully we'll get that. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Phil, if you have anything to plug.
I mean, I posted a video on TikTok and Instagram about the whole People versus Gorilla Grodd thing. So if anyone wants to check that out, by all means, go for it. That's all I'll say there. Other than that, just Vero Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok, Unfiltered. That's pretty much it.
All right, Paul.
Dude, I'm just here. I just dropped
Nothing
in.
Wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
No, I got nothing. But yeah, you guys know where to follow me. I'm at PMickey 1988 on Instagram. At Paul Panhook on Vero, even though I probably don't ever go on that anymore. But yeah, thanks for having me on, man. I always appreciate it. It's always good shooting the shit with you guys and just talking about stuff, whether I know everything about it or know nothing about it. It's always an interesting discussion. So thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys and appreciate everybody who was who stuck around. And thank you to Taladia and thank you to Ronan also for joining tonight. And hit that like, thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. There's just watch out for whatever the hell. Obviously, I don't know what my Sunday is gonna be like, but I will try to post like a first initial reaction to episode 2 of Lanterns, and then of course be talking about it fully on Film Junkie Live on Monday. So check that out. And guys, we love you and we will talk to you later.